If you've been looking through YouTube for the most advanced advertising tutorial for your e-commerce brand, look no more, this is it. Now bear with me here because this video will be long, but again, we will go through everything from helping you understand the marketing fundamentals to research process, how to build an ad creative. Would that be a UGC video or a static ad? We'll be building both of these live with you. Then I'll show you exactly how to launch this ad. So what's your campaign structure? I'll report back on the results of this said ad. And last but not least, I'll show you exactly what to do in case your results are not what you were looking for. With that being said, if you don't yet know who I am and you're new to the channel, my name is Justin and I'm the founder at paidadvertising.com, an online e-commerce marketing growth firm specializing in elevating thriving brands by simplifying e-commerce growth. With that being said, let's get straight into today's video. How do your Facebook ad creatives target your ideal customers? Now, again, this was the comment I got the other day in one of my videos, which was, okay, I understand that Meta is able to use creatives to find your target audience. That is why you leave everything open. By everything, this person means targeting, right? So by meaning everything open, we're targeting only demographics. So we're going to target perhaps a specific gender, or we're going to target a specific age group or specific location, but we're not going to add any custom audiences. We're not going to add any sort of lookalikes or perhaps any sort of interests in our audience targeting stack. So what confuses me is, how does Facebook know what creative is geared towards top of funnel, middle of funnel, or bottom of funnel if I do not tell it? So in other words, if I don't limit my audience to a top of funnel only audience and exclude all my customers, how does Facebook know to show those ads only to top of funnel people? If I don't limit, essentially, if I don't only target my website visitors as an example with middle of funnel ads, how does Facebook know to show those only to these people? Well, look, this is what I want to uncover in this video. Now, whether or not you're new to the channel, let's start with a little refresher right here. There are 5 market awareness levels that make up the positioning of your ad creative's message. So the way you're going to craft your ad creative's message, it is going to depend on one of these 5 market awareness levels. So it ranges from unaware all the way to most aware. So unaware and problem aware for the most part are considered to be very top of funnel. Sometimes solution aware could also be top of funnel, but there's an overlap here. Solution aware and product aware are usually someone who's in your middle of funnel, and somebody who's most aware is usually going to be in your bottom of funnel. So with that being said, now that I've kind of displayed this chart, let's go through each and every single one of these 5 market awareness levels together and see how your hook in your ad would be positioned differently and how also Facebook knows who to show this to. Okay, bear with me. It's going to get easier and easier to understand as we go down in awareness level. So here we go. Now, let's just assume for a second that my mass market desire is I want to scale my e-commerce brand past $250,000 a month. Okay, this is my audience's core desire. Well, for somebody who is unaware, that means somebody that's basically, I am unaware of my own desire of wanting to scale my e-commerce brand / I do not understand the need or urgency behind why I should be scaling my e-commerce brand past $250,000 a month. Okay, so a hook for ad to an audience like this would be the following. Did you know that e-commerce brands making over $3 million a year have an 80% lower risk of failure due to market fluctuations? Find out how they're doing it. So it's very broad in itself. It's like almost creating fear or curiosity within the audience as to like, now why should I even care about scaling my brand to $250,000 a month? Like, why is that even a problem that I should be aware of, right? And now, how is Facebook able to know, okay, now this is the messaging of my ad. How am I able to find someone who is most likely to respond well to this said ad? Well, what would be the traits or the online behaviors that my persona would be taking on a day-to-day? Well, that persona, they probably simply regularly visit a Shopify website, okay? So they always go to shopify.com and log in more than once a day. And Meta also knows that this person probably has a couple thousands of followers online, but minimal traction on their Instagram or Facebook site perhaps, or their profile. So again, bear with me. This is going to get easier to understand as we go down in awareness levels. Okay, so basically very broad persona in itself. Facebook knows that somebody who would be interested in that most likely goes on Shopify or WooCommerce or any sort of e-commerce platforms a couple of times a day. So they know they're an e-commerce business owner, first of all. And second of all, how do they know they're not making $250,000 a month, or they're not actively aware of that? Well, that person, at best, they have very small traction with their brand. And there's a couple of different cues online that helps Meta know that this person has a small business. for that matter. Okay, again, bear with me. Let's go to the next awareness level now. Somebody who is problem aware. So then that means I am aware I desperately need to scale my e-commerce brand past $250,000 a month, but I got no clue how to do it. Okay, so a hook for an ad like this would be struggling to scale your e-commerce brand past $250,000 a month. Discover the proven strategies to unlock exponential growth. Okay, now again, what is my persona doing online now at this point? Well, my persona is starting to watch online videos on how to scale an e-commerce brand. So they're consuming content on how to scale a brand, which means they're aware they need to scale their brand. They're aware of their problem. They also speak either through voice memos on their phones or phone calls, or when they make Instagram stories, they speak perhaps even through texting about struggling with growing their business. They might be in masterminds or group chats with others. They actively text people, look, I'm struggling, man. How do I get to 250K a month? How does this work, right? Why? Ad platforms have various sources of data where they can actually read what the user is actively sending. Would it be through stories? Would it be through the content they make? Would it be through the phone calls they're having? Would it be through they're listening, right? So with that being said, that's somebody who's actually speaking about struggling with growing their business. Now, this person is probably also browsing online forums to see who or what could help them fix that problem. So they're going on Google, they're going like how to scale past 250K a month, and they're going on Reddit. They're looking at a lot of Reddit threads. They're looking at YouTube videos, right? They're starting to look into how can I fix this problem, okay? Now, let's keep continuing. I think hopefully this is starting to get easier to understand. Now, solution aware. I am aware I desperately need to scale my e-commerce brand past $250,000 a month. I know of a few ways to do it, but I'm not sure which one's the best for me or if there's any other ways out there that I might be unaware of, okay? So hook, look, TikTok post won't get your e-commerce brand past $250,000 a month. Now discover the repeatable, proven Facebook ads process that will, okay? So now at this self, we're assuming they are familiar with one way to fix the problem, which is TikTok organic posting as an example. And we're like, no. This isn't the right solution for you. There is a better solution for you out there. And this is our solution. It's a proven Facebook ads creative process. So at this point, what is my persona's online behavior if they're aware of different solutions, right? Well, they've consumed many videos now on growing an e-commerce brand. They've actively consumed videos probably for days, if not weeks or months. They've probably clicked on a few different websites, on a few different offers, and on a few different ads, all tailored to the same problem of helping them grow past $250,000 a month with their e-commerce brand. So they've consumed a few pieces of content, a few ads, and browsed a few websites about how to fix that problem, which means they're aware of a couple different solutions now on how to fix their problem. Again, those are the traits of behaviors that ad platforms know based on your browsing history, based on cookies, based on just your behaviors online. They'll be able to spot that, right? Based on a conversion API, they'll be able to know if you've done this type of behaviors online. Let's keep it going. Somebody who is product aware. What does that mean? I am aware I desperately need to scale my e-commerce brand past $250,000 a month. I know of a few ways to do it, and I just found out about your specific way to help me scale. So let's keep it going. Your e-commerce brand needs to scale past $250,000 a month, and our proven Facebook ads creative process is the key to making it happen. So now we're assuming they're aware with Facebook ads as a whole, and we're assuming they're already aware of Facebook ads as a means to scale past $250,000 a month. Okay? Now again, what is my persona's behavior online? Well, they're actively watching how to scale an e-commerce brand with Facebook ads video or Facebook ads tutorials online. So we know they're aware of our solution and product now at this point. They've also joined online communities to help them scale with Facebook ads as an example. So they're actively looking into the keyword Facebook ads to scale e-commerce brand, Facebook ads to scale my business past $250,000 a month, so on and so forth. Okay, let's keep it going to the last and final awareness level. Somebody who is most aware. That is somebody who is aware they desperately need to scale their e-commerce brand past $250,000 a month. They know how you can help me do it. They're aware of how basically our team works, who I am, and what we do, and they just haven't yet booked in a call with us. So what type of messaging should I be doing now at this point? Well, I should be simply running an ad and say, ready to scale your e-commerce brand past $250,000 a month? Book a call with us now and let's make it happen together. That's it. I simply say my offer and my price if I want to, or just say, hey, here's my offer, book in a call, let's work together. That's it. Nothing else is needed to convince that person that I'm the right guy because they're already so deep into that funnel. How does Meta know that? What is my persona's behavior online? Well, my pixel knows that this person is actively watching my YouTube channel. My pixel knows that this person already went to our website, so paidadvertising.com's website many times. My pixel knows that this person follows me on social media. Therefore, the pixel assumes that this person knows knows a lot about me already and therefore only need to have a messaging like this. So to go back to the initial question asked at the start of this video, how does Facebook know what creative is geared towards top of funnel, middle of funnel, or bottom of funnel if I don't tell it? They know because of these two things. They know that here's the behaviors of the audience online. So therefore, if this person has these behaviors, or I'm gonna use this one because I think it gets easier when we're at problem aware onwards. So if Facebook knows that your online activity limits itself, right? You're not actively looking into Facebook ads. You're not actively following my channel. You're not actively looking into videos on how to grow an e-commerce brand, but you're speaking a lot with friends about your online business struggle, how hard it is to run a small business. You're browsing forums about like, yo, how can I grow my business? Well, if Facebook knows that you only do this, but that you do not do any of that, will Facebook show you an ad that says, ready to scale your e-commerce brand? Book a call with me right now. They probably won't show you this ad because they know you're not ready to do that yet because your behaviors online are not matching the messaging of my ad. Hopefully that starts making sense, right? Same reason why, if I'm solution aware as an example, which means Facebook knows that my behavior online limits itself to consuming videos on how to grow an e-commerce brand. And I've watched tons of videos about TikTok organic posting, TikTok ads, but I've never ever watched a video about Facebook ads, or I never really clicked or interacted with an ad that said that Facebook ads is the way to help my e-commerce brand. Well, I'm surely not gonna say, hey, ready to scale your brand with Facebook ads? Book in a call right below. I won't say that, right? Because Facebook knows that this person is not ready to hear that message. But on the flip side, they know that this person is probably ready to say like, hey, look, what you've been watching right now about TikTok, it's not gonna work. You need to watch this new thing instead. It's called Facebook ads. Now, that matches this person's behavior a lot more. So Facebook is like a matchmaker in itself. What they do is they know all the behaviors a user is taking online, and through analyzing the script of a video ad, or the components of your ad copy, or the components of your landing page, or the components, the visual text on a static ad, they'll know, is this audience really ready to receive this message? Yes or no? If the answer is no, because of their behaviors online, Facebook simply won't show them that message. And that is how they're able to gear essentially a creative that is meant to be either made for a top of funnel audience, or a middle of funnel audience, or a bottom of funnel audience, to match it to the right person without you doing targeting, because they're tracking you with the pixel and the conversion API and all of your behaviors online, and they know whether or not you are ready to be put in front of one of these types of messaging. All right, so now that you've watched that, you should better understand the current ad landscape that we're playing with. And coming up next, I will be walking you through exactly what are the core pillars of a successful e-commerce brand, from its website to the marketing to the different channels that you're gonna have to play with in order to make this brand successful. So let's get straight into it. Now, let's first of all look at the organizational chart, if you want, or the departmental chart of an e-commerce business. So I split it mainly when it comes to revenue generating activities, or kind of revenue generating factors. Pretty much the only thing that I haven't really laid out here would be like customer service and some of the like warehouse and back end stuff, okay? But I'll very briefly touch on that today. Now, when it comes to making an e-commerce brand successful, I would divide that into kind of these two pillars that you have right here on screen. You have marketing and then you have website. Ignore the color code for a second. I'll talk about that in the next few minutes. But for now, let's just dive into all the pillars and things you must have in order to bring your brand to a successful stage, right? So when it comes to the website in itself, well, your website is composed, in my opinion, of these three sub points or departments, right? Where you would have someone or some people responsible for offer creation and testing, right? So either bundles, or either just the way you label an offer in itself, or the way you kind of frame a promotion, or the marketing calendar perhaps, or I'm gonna put all of that under the bracket of offers. Now you have CRO, which is conversion rate optimization. That is essentially, to me, general website design, general website improvements, general work involved in making the website convert at a higher rate, giving you more profits, giving you a higher AOV, right? I always kind of say this comes from my good friend Spencer, who actually is running a CRO agency, and he coined the term like Shopify Health Score, which is your AOV times conversion rate on your Shopify store, right? And he says that a brand should aim at 200 or more Shopify Health Score. So that means if your conversion rate is 2%, and you have a $100 AOV, then you do 2 times 100, and now you're looking at a 200 Shopify Health Score. So you need to have a team that is dedicated to making your website look good, but also convert good. And then you'll have people helping you build landing pages, right? That is usually going to be a mix, if you want, of CRO and offers in themselves. So landing page would usually be specific to an offer and or product, and somebody would work to make it convert at a high rate for that specific offer and or product. Okay, so I'm kind of putting all of those under the website. So someone must be responsible for all of these things in order to guarantee conversions on a website, right? But now let's talk about how this links to marketing. So if you look into marketing right here, you've got those 4 core pillars according to, again, my experience. You would have paid social, paid search, organic, and retention. The 4 core things you want to focus on in order to market and propel your e-commerce brand forward. I'm obviously not going to talk about as much like traditional media, perhaps even expanding into retail and how that not only impacts the brand's presence, but also technically serves as marketing. I'm not going to go into that in this video, but those are points that I could have added here. So paid social in itself, what are the main platforms that you will want to take care of, right? You'll have Meta, TikTok, Snapchat, Pinterest. They're kind of the top platforms, right? Meta, when it comes to Triple Well's survey for all of 2023's, it was, I believe, 66 or 67% of their total industry ad spend was put towards Meta, which just shows you like how indexed people are on Meta. Then you look at Google, it was about 25% or so of the industry's ad spend. So there's not a lot left. I think TikTok was about 3%, which was the third biggest one. And then you had like 1 to 2% of the total industry's ad spend split across Snapchat, Pinterest, Bing, and any other, right? So even when it comes to these paid social platforms, you could kind of split those into 2 sub fields. So you have paid social, then you have channels. So now let's say we take Meta, then you have sometimes media buying only teams, and then you have creative teams. So again, 2 different fields within a single channel for paid social. Now let's take paid search for a second. It's usually going to be mainly driven by Google. You also have Bing. Now organic, it's going to be typically going to be like Instagram, Facebook page, or a Facebook group community that people build, TikTok or Pinterest. Then retention, you're going to have email, SMS, direct mail, and loyalty programs. Now, bear with me here and please stick with me throughout this entire video. I'm showing you how each department interacts with each other, and also what are the ultimate 3 ways or 3 scenarios on how you can delegate marketing in order to increase your chances at succeeding with your e-commerce brand. And also the kind of number 1 fallacy I feel that brands fall prey to, either at low scale or at high scale. So we'll get to that by the end of this video. Now, when it comes to paid social, and the reason why I've also linked marketing with website. Well, truth is, if you have a bad website, no matter how good you are on the marketing side, nobody's going to convert, right? If your offers aren't strong, if your website just isn't conversion optimized, if you don't have landing pages that are congruent with the messaging you talk about either in your ads and or organic and or retention based content, you're just not going to have conversion. You can do the best job here, but if this is not optimized, you won't have the results coming from marketing. The flip side is also true. You could have the best website in the world, but if your marketing doesn't do a good enough job at either driving traffic as a whole, so driving enough volume to the website, nobody's going to convert. And it's going to make your job much harder to optimize conversion rate or your website as a whole if you don't have statistical evidence, which can only be achieved with a volume of traffic coming from these sources. And on the second thing too, it's if you drive bad quality traffic, so the wrong people to the website, because your ads perhaps or the marketing material here is not congruent with what your web team has done on the website, then that too could create like a miscongruence between the two and end up just impacting the overall conversion rate. So these two are intertwined in many ways. One impacts the other. And same thing here. If you go one level down, well, paid social impacts paid search impacts paid social, paid search impacts organic impacts paid search, organic impacts retention impacts organic, retention impacts paid search impact retention, and so on and so forth. I could keep going for hours here, but it's like they all impact one another. And those have all been proven through many different videos I've done on YouTube. But if you have an app like TripleWell as an example to analyze your e-commerce data, you'll usually see a positive correlation in sales between paid social and paid search. So typically, the more you spend on Meta or the more organic content you'll do on Instagram as an example, the more people will naturally be searching you up online, either with branded search term, right? Because they've been exposed now to your brand for the first time, or they haven't really taken note of your brand's name, but the product or something in the ad struck interest, and now they're searching for said product, right? With it's still going to be like top of funnel, but it's like the initial interest, the initial touch point was enhanced by paid social or organic, okay? And that typically happens. You'll see a positive correlation on platforms like TripleWell. And typically we're always seeing it, right? There is a much stronger correlation between someone in our client pool succeeding at Meta ads or TikTok ads if they're already crushing it organically. Why? Because again, one impacts the other. People that see a Facebook ad or an Instagram ad will probably start scrolling through the organic profile, and if they see good stuff on there too, it increases social proof, it increases the buying decision, and just helps push someone over the edge, right? It's typically what's going to end up happening. Or if somebody sees a Meta ad and then they spend like a couple of seconds looking at the ad, then the algorithm is going to think, that person's interested. And even if they don't look at your profile yet, Meta is going to start showing them your Instagram reels as an example organically, and then what do you know, now they start consuming more and more of your content and they're going to end up buying. So there's a very strong correlation between any of these right here, which is is why it's important to have all of them dialed in. They all work together, right? It's like when brands say, I'm only gonna crack my my brand's like scale only with Facebook ads, and I'm not gonna do email. I'm not gonna do any email and SMS, right? I'm not gonna do Google. I'm not gonna do like any sort of website optimization. Then it's like, look, you only have one piece of the puzzle here. It's, can you do it? Maybe you can, but are you gonna have a much better chance of doing it if you have like everything figured out together? Yes. Now, for small brands, we're gonna get to that in a second. You'll have to add those and stack them up as building blocks. You can't just, you probably don't have the money at least to go out there and hire out every single one of these things. What I'll tell you is the following: no matter how good someone is at any of those points, because typically the truth is you don't have a lot of entities. I'm not saying that they don't exist, because they do exist, right? There's agencies that take care of every platform on paid social. There's agencies that take care of everything on paid search, everything organic, but typically the best agencies will be more specialist. They'll be specialists at Meta or specialists at TikTok. Some even to this day, or media buying specialists. Others are more creative specialists. Now, mostly now, I've said it many times also out there, but creative is the new targeting. So you'll usually find media buying and creatives to come together. But there still are agencies that are only doing media buying and some that are only doing creatives. I'm not saying that it's a good or a bad thing. I'm saying what it is out there. So then you have specialists of a platform that is a subcategory of paid social, that is a subcategory of marketing, that it starts to be very narrowed down at this point. And now, doing a side tangent real quick, Meta, right? And I'm saying Meta because why? We take care of Meta and TikTok and Google as a paid ads agency. Primarily Meta though, like 60 to 70% of our ad spend comes to Meta. Let's follow up this little line that I have driven right here, okay? So what does our process look like for creating Meta ads? It looks like that. We have a very thorough research process. Then once we've gone through this entire research process, we position our ads. So making sure that they're positioned to the right awareness of the audience. Then we go through copywriting, script writing, picking a creators if this is going to be UGC, or going straight to editing if this is going to be like a static or a video ad. And then from there, we track our performance, right? It's like, what was the headline? What was the copy of this ad? What was the desire? What was the persona? What was the benefit of this ad? What was the positioning of this ad? And honestly, with a thorough process like we have for creating high converting Facebook or TikTok ad creatives, it's impossible to fail with the process. I am telling you, I know for a fact that if and when we follow this process, there is no account for which we have not increased results. We will be increasing results when it comes to click-through rate, when it comes to traffic driven, when it comes to also sales, when it comes to profitability. But if this process, having gone through multiple waves of iterations, now you've gone through that process for months on end of, we're going through this, we know our research is strong, we know our creatives are backed by data, we know they're backed by what we found in the audience that works, we know that our new creatives are backed by iterations based on the winning variables we've identified. If this is not satisfactory, right? Meaning even with that, either the client or either the brand in itself is like, yo, we're still not profitable, or like, hey, look, this is still not where we need to be for us to make money, I can confidently say the ad process is not the problem. And this is part of the reason why I'm making this video, to show that there is so many things at play together that impacts just this or just that right here. And now I'll play devil's advocate probably for another 10 to 15 minutes here, which is, okay, so then Justin, are you telling me that I should not hire someone to just do this because it's not going to have a big enough impact on the business because there's so many other things outside of their control, therefore I should hire someone that controls more of these variables? Well, let's explore this thought, right? What are the 3 company structure scenarios that you could have to grow your e-commerce brand? Well, let's go through them all. Scenario 1, you do it all in-house, okay? Now, the minimum I'm gonna highlight here is the pink platforms, okay? I've highlighted platforms in pink right here, which in my opinion, this is the absolute minimum that you must hire or do in order to like have a fair chance of succeeding, right? Especially nowadays in 2024, at the time of recording this video, it's like Meta and TikTok have to be pretty dialed in. They're like the top 2 paid social channels. Google is like pretty much the only one that you can do on the paid search side. Organic, it's all Instagram and TikTok. Facebook doesn't really push you organically. Instagram Reels and TikToks push you organically. There's a lot of reach to these platforms. And retention wise, you don't really need to dive into direct mail. You don't really need to go loyalty programs. Email and SMS are pretty much the must. Okay, let's explore that for a second. I've taken salary averages from Glassdoor and Indeed, okay, in the US. Now, if you tell me, Justin, can I not just hire this out overseas? You could. Now, getting into the quality of the talent, on getting into vetting that talent is another story. For the sake of this video, I'll talk about local talent in the US. Let's get through it. Well, first of all, you need someone on your side that is going to oversee all of this. No matter you running this structure, this marketing department internally or externally, you need a CMO. Because going back right here, someone needs to be the link, right? The person that is marketing, if I put that in yellow right here, somebody needs to be the head. Somebody needs to be managing and overseeing all of that, or else where is the congruence here? Everyone is going to be doing their own thing in a little silo and not be aware of whatever is happening in each of these other departments. So you need a head or a brain or a link or the glue between all of these departments. Okay, let's keep going. So a CMO's average yearly salary in the US is about $148,000. And again, I was incredibly conservative. I've checked multiple websites, and for every single one of these roles right here, many websites were much higher than that. And this is usually like media buyers. We're talking about junior to an average media buyer. We're not talking about a senior media buyer, right? That's local talent from the US. $148,000 for a CMO. If you're going to run paid social with the platforms, so Facebook and TikTok, you're going to need one media buyer, one creative strategist, and probably 2 editors to power your ad. Okay, so here's the salaries on average for these. Now, paid search, you're probably going to need one media buyer to handle all of your paid search needs. Okay, great. Once again, about $49,000 right here. When it comes to making your organic content work, you'll probably need one researcher, somebody to research on trends, ideate new content, almost like a creative strategist if you want. You'll need ideally 3 content creators, right? People that are faces of your brand internally. Either you're going to be the one doing it yourself as a founder, which I don't necessarily think that at scale it's the best idea, or you'll need 2 to 3 content creators. Why 2 to 3 and why not just one? Well, what if this person leaves? You don't want to have your entire face of your brand in one person's hands. You want to have a couple people creating content for you internally. That's why most accounts you see out there from big brands have more than one face that runs the accounts of that brand to hedge their risk in case one of them leaves. So 2 to 3 content creators. Okay, now you'll probably also need again 2 editors to edit these organic posts. Now let's keep going. Retention. You'll need 1 copywriter, 1 designer, and 1 strategist. Usually that strategist is going to be the one uploading new campaigns on Klaviyo, pulling out the stats from what they're seeing on Klaviyo and being able to tell, hey copywriter, I need more of this, or hey designer, I need you to redo that. So total yearly salaries here is $896,000. You're looking at almost $1 million in payroll. And that is just for marketing. I have not even touched website at this point. I'm not even like, nobody's managing your website. Nobody's building you landing pages at this point. $896,000, right? For $74,000 monthly. Okay, so that's scenario number 1. You do it all in-house. Scenario number 2, you work with 1 agency. Now, by the way, I'm going to take the example here of a big agency like Common Thread Collective or 4 Media Marketing or any of these big agencies in the e-commerce space. No shame to these agencies at all. Far from that, they're amazing. I love every single one of them. And I've audited accounts from most of these big agencies in the past before, and I've seen amazing stuff, but I'm simply talking about the model and how it works in itself. So let's keep going. Now, how much are we talking to hire everything out, right? So an agency like this is going to make the entire strategy. It's going to give you the data. It's going to make you, help you with finances. It's going to help you do paid social. It's going to help you do paid search. It's going to help you do website. Every single one of these things, we're talking bare minimum, depending on how many blocks you end up taking from them. If you want to have all of it, you're probably going to look closer to like $40,000 to $50,000 a month. Plus, add to that, once again, somebody from your end needs to be coordinating with the said agency all the time. If you don't want to be the one doing it yourself as a CEO, you need a CMO to do it. What is a CEO's average monthly salary? Well, from what we talked about earlier, it's about $12,000 to $15,000 a month. Okay, so now you're talking about, if you want to hire all of it out, you're talking about $60,000 to $65,000 a month. Well, at this point, right, $65,000 roughly a month times 12, $780,000. Slightly cheaper, right? Slightly cheaper than outsourcing all of it with a local team. Okay, let's keep going. Now, assuming the average e-commerce brand makes 10% net profit at the end of the month, okay? I've checked various sources online. Most of them say the average is about net. I've checked my client pool too. The best brands usually in our client pool are going to be doing about 20, maybe 25% net margin. Incredibly rare. The lower brands are going to be making anywhere between like 4 to 10% profit. 10% is about an average, okay? So for a business to kind of break even and be able to afford said services, we're talking a minimum of $200,000 to $500,000 in monthly revenue. So the question to ask yourself is, who wants to build a $2.4 million to $6 million a year business to not pocket any of its money? And that's minimum, right? A lot of these businesses are probably going to have to make even more money in order to be able to like pay themselves a little something, right? So no one goes to build a business to not pocket all of its money. So that is like bare minimum how much a brand needs to make to afford said agency. And that's usually what I've seen. Most of these big agencies, the brands I've audited, the brand accounts I've audited working with them are making around that. They're making usually high 7 or low 8-figure businesses. Some will even make multi 8-figure that are working with these agencies? So again, the answer is no one. No one wants to not pocket any of this money. So who can afford these services? There's three types. Funded businesses, so they've got the money to spend and they don't want to do any of it themselves. Bootstrap, high 7-figure or low 8-figure businesses. So they're now at a point where it makes sense to outsource most of that marketing. And I'll go into something in a second, okay? I'll play devil's advocate once again. Businesses going for a big exit over cash flow. But let's talk about these two things for a second. First of all, if you bootstrap your way to high 7, low 8-figure, it must mean that you're doing something right. And if you're doing something right, do you really need to shill out 50 grand a month to hire an agency to suddenly outsource all of your marketing at once? Probably not, because you've already figured your way out to high 7, low 8-figure. So you might work with them for part of their services. So I'm like dismantling the model right now of hiring one agency to do all of it, okay? And not Comment Thread Collective specifically. I do want to make that point right here. I'm not attacking the agency, just the model of one agency for all of it is all I'm talking about here. Now, businesses going for a big exit over cash flow. If you say, well, Justin, I don't care about not pocketing any of my money. I do kind of want to break even because I do want to exit. Well, first of all, if you don't have any EBITDA, your exit's going to be null. You're not really going to be able to exit anything. Now, second of all, no investor will like a business built off of the back of one external agency. This is a huge variable. What if the agency goes out of business? What if the agency suddenly negotiates all their rates up and you can't afford them anymore? What if the agency decides to change their processes and suddenly they don't work anymore? It's a huge risk to have everything with one external entity, right? So I'll talk about that in a second, the multiple agencies route. And the truth is, even if you hire one agency, and this is like the point I'm trying to make here, you're still not in control of product. Meaning, going back to what we had at the top right here, okay? This is one category I haven't shown yet. It's product. Because look, going back to how all of these work with each other, if your website isn't good, ads or marketing isn't going to convert. If your marketing isn't sending enough people or the right quality of people, website's not going to work. But at the end of the day, it all starts with the product. If your product is not good, well, anybody landing on a website won't convert. You could have the highest conversion rate, like optimization tips and tricks and landing pages that are congruent with your ads. But if nobody wants the product, then nobody's going to convert. And same thing with ads. You would have the best marketing, the best research process, the best content creators, the best agencies or team. If you're marketing a bad product, it's going to affect your ad. Like, you're not going to have as high of a click-through rate. You're not going to have as high as a conversion rate. All metrics are going to go down because nobody wants the product. So product is the Trojan horse in this equation. It affects everything. So even if you outsource all of this to one external agency, right? Then we go back to you cannot outsource the product. This has an invisible hand waiting on every single component of the business. It plays a huge role in every component of the business. I'm gonna go as far to say you can replace product for fashion businesses by brand, because the product isn't really what sells itself. The brand does. The brand vision, the brand feel. Now, can you really outsource the entire brand as a fashion business to one agency? Look, even if the agency in question can take care of organic, how are you gonna make sure that they don't dismantle the brand image? How can you remain in control of the brand image? What makes your brand valuable if all of it is outsourced? Well, going back to that right here, hiring one agency, this is the kind of downfall of that model. Because like if you see it from both perspectives, as the agency, why would you, even for 20, 40, 50, 60 grand a month of a retainer? First of all, you cannot realistically charge someone more than 50 or 60 grand a month as a retainer. No brand in their right mind is going to look at you and be like, yeah, that's a justifiable expense on my P&L. No, they're going to say, fuck it, I'm going to bring it in-house. Why? You've seen the difference earlier. We're talking like what? Even if you hire all the talent, even if you hire 100% of your talent locally in the US, you're talking about like 100 grand more a year. I'd rather have, paying an extra 6-figure a year in payroll to have everything in-house and have full control over the entire business than outsource all of it to an agency, right? So that doesn't really make sense from a brand perspective. Now, let's see it from an agency perspective. Even if you're making 50, 60 grand a month, like you're still always going to have your efforts slowed down by the brand. Like if the owner isn't doing like what they need to be doing with the product, if they're not coming out with the right variations, if they're not fixing their finances in the background, if they're not negotiating the right rates with their suppliers, if that vision is not there, no matter how much control you have as an agency, going back to that at the top, you could be, hey, we're a paid social, paid search, and retention agency. You could be doing email, SMS, ads, Google for a business. You still don't have everything under control. Product is what is out of your hands, which arguably is the most important part of an e-commerce business. So why would you, as an agency, want want to become full service instead of building your own in-house brands, which is why 99% of big agencies are building their own internal brands, because every single one of them are realizing like, yo, I'm out of control with all of these clients. They're erratic, they're making like dumb decisions, and I can't control all of their success, even though I'm doing this, and that right. So they just revert to becoming brand owners. You hear that all the time. Big agencies that really scaled up, they became full service, and next thing you know, they're not an agency anymore, they're incubating brands because they realize, hey, it's much more profitable for us to do that. And if like we have ownership and equity now in all of these businesses, and when we sell them, we like have everything is done in-house. So like there's you know, it's like a all-in-one package that we sell to these investors. It's like, it makes so much more sense for an agency to want to start incubating brands at a specific scale. And on the flip side, it does not make sense for brands to work with one big agency at a specific scale. So now let's talk about what happens if you hire multiple agencies. Now I'm going to be using my own personal experience for retainer estimates. Okay. Once again, we're going to talk about minimum, the pink platforms. I'm not even going to talk about like CRO or any of that sort. CMO is going to be needed still in this case. Why? Once again, you need glue. Okay. If you have a paid social agency, a paid search agency, and they don't speak to each other, then you need someone to make the link between those two. Okay. So let's keep going. Meta plus TikTok agency with creatives is probably going to run you up for about $6,500 a month. Paid search, you're probably going to be able to get away with someone doing it for you for $3,000 a month. Organic, if somebody sources content creators, enters your content posting, you'll probably be able to get away with about $8,000 a month. Email plus SMS, about another $6.5K a month. Total yearly, $436,000. Total monthly, $36,000. This here, the math here is why most brands default to working with multiple agencies, which there's no problem with that because it's easier to build as you grow, right? It's less expensive upfront for you to work with multiple agencies, and it's cheaper to slowly add agencies than it is to slowly build an in-house team. Definitely, right? There are costs with an agency that you just don't have with the internal team. You don't have to deal with the cost of HR. You don't have to deal with the cost of, man, this team member is leaving, I need to replace them, or like I need to find someone else new ASAP. No, you're outsourcing management, hiring, and basically also part of the pricing. Like it's a discounted price because these agencies can work with multiple clients. And it's also more attractive to investors because there's less risk than working with one big agency. The risk is more diluted. But ultimately speaking, what's going to be even more so attractive to said investors is either if somebody's going to be working with multiple agencies or if they're going to own the entire process in-house, because that means they've perfected the process. They know how to acquire themselves. They know how to retain themselves. They know how to product development works by themselves. They know organic. So it's like, okay, this brand has cracked everything. It's an all-in-one package once again. So what is the overarching point of this video? What I'm trying to make right here is one of the number one things I see e-commerce businesses doing wrong, either if they're just starting out or they're trying to scale, is they are trying to hire out for everything. And they either fall prey to one of two things. Number one, they don't have a CMO and they're trying to have different agencies to handle everything. And now what ends up happening is there's no cohesiveness across every department of the business. So then that goes south. Or they'll work with one big agency, but then they're stuck with one partner where all their eggs are within one basket and it doesn't make the brand attractive to anyone and costs stack up. Or they'll try and build a team in-house too soon, which eats through costs and margins, which these guys, another thing that I haven't discussed is like, these people are only working on your account, which has its pros and cons. Pros, all their time and attention is spent on you. Great. Cons, well, these people are not seeing what is going on in the space. They're not seeing 10, 15, 20 other ad accounts in a day where they can spot trends and add these learnings to your business. So how can you make sure that you're going to be bringing on talent that is really going to help you elevate your business? Well, I can tell you that for a fact. A $49,000 a year media bar probably is not going to be elevating your business. That's why I told you earlier, every single one of these salaries right here is like an average. Well, an average employee probably doesn't have the experience you need to really help take you further. So you need a really strong CMO or yourself to be super good in marketing to make an in-house team happen. So now I sound like doomsday, you know, in this video. It's like, well, there's no real way to guarantee, you know, e-commerce success, or like everything you can do is going to fail. No, the lessons I need you to take from this video is be careful about the way you're going to structure your company. That's the first thing. Second, don't fall prey to the fact that like you believe everything can either be hired out or you believe everything can be taken in-house. There is a fourth scenario, which is a mix of, in my opinion, these two right here. You're going to have part in-house, part outsourced. That probably is the healthiest scenario because you outsource for expertise that you just simply cannot afford to have in-house, or you complement the gaps that your in-house team lacks by hiring experts in their field as agencies. And that is probably going to be the ultimate play. So you need to stack scenario 3 and scenario 1 together as you grow as a business. Personally, I would never go with scenario 1 and have just one agency do all of it. And same thing from an agency perspective. If an agency becomes full service, then once again, it's like there's always that, why can't I scale? Why is this not working? Well, it's because of this and that. That's why those are the same color, by the way. Product has a direct correlation to offer. You can't create offers based on products that you don't have. Like offers are related to products that you have. So offers and products are together. No agency has full control over those. And if they do, they will want equity, is where I'm going to in this video. No agency is going to be incentivized without equity to take care of every single one of these things. So going back to the overarching question, how do you guarantee e-commerce ad success? Through ownership, internal and external ownership. Create ownership amongst these silos, meaning have an agency, once again, to take care of, let's say, this silo or this one, which you delegate ownership over that. But you need a brain internally to create cohesiveness around that. That CMO brain, I label that as a CMO, but I'll give you an example, right? If I move this card here and I say, this is a CMO, right? And I say, well, at the top, you have CEO, which is near here. Well, that person, by the way, I can just put these two cards in the same color because you are a startup. And let's just say I am running an e-commerce brand. Well, Justin is the CEO and he also is the CMO. You will wear many hats when you start a business. That is normal, but you need someone to keep these people accountable, to think about a marketing calendar, to develop the product, to, or at least relay the information of what the product development team is working on, to ideate offers, to create cohesiveness between ads and, website, to think, hey guys, hey ad team, here's what's happening with the website team right now. They're doing all of these changes. Can you guys give us feedback on what you need to happen on the website based on what you see on the ads? Hey website team, can you connect with my ad team and basically try and see with them like what angles is working best on the ads front so that you can create landing pages according to that. Hey retention team, connect with the paid social team and paid search teams to make sure that you know what needs to be the content in the emails. Someone internally needs to be that glue. And the entire point I'm going to at the end of this video, that glue is usually what's missing. And this is where brands go wrong. They either, like the CEO lacks the time to really be that glue, and that's okay because again, usually it's like, how can I say, they're at a point where everything is just demanding so much of their attention and they just can't afford giving time to all of these departments. And then they'll either hire out one agency, which as you've seen, it just doesn't lead to somewhere good, or they'll think, well, I'll try and get it in-house so we'll have more control, thinking that they'll have more control, but they hire subpar talent that only sees their account, has absolutely no industry knowledge or expertise, and it's like they actually, it just worsens the results because they have more cost with a subpar team, or they just bloat. And that's where most brands end up dying. They'll have different agencies that are all very competent at what they do, but nobody talks to each other. There's no cohesiveness between each of these departments, and they all kind of float. It's like there's, paid social isn't really related to what's happening on paid search, which isn't really related what we're seeing on the website, which retention doesn't really follow either what any of these guys are doing. Nobody knows the angles that everybody is attacking. Nobody knows the product that everyone is advertising. And then you find yourself in a plateau. Fix that glue. Either get yourself a CMO or either yourself make sure that you are a marketing knowledgeable founder. I think this is the number one skill or the number one thing I see in a successful e-commerce business nowadays is you either have a marketing based founder or the founder of the brand really knows their shit marketing wise, or you'll have a accounting or an economics based founder, which they're so good with the numbers that they're able to give very realistic aims and KPIs to all their teams, keeping them accountable to numbers. So either if you're good marketing wise or if you're good number wise, you'll make a great CEO for an e-commerce business. And if you don't have that, find yourself a strong CMO that can help you do that. So this was a very high level video, but I hope you've enjoyed it. This is more targeted to those brands already making 100K a month or more, kind of seeing like, yo, how do I get past that? How do I keep growing? Honestly, you have to figure out the plan of action when it comes to creating that glue between all of your departments. And finalizing my point on the founder not having the marketing or the economics knowledge, there's too much like emotion involved in the growth process of the business. It's not dialed in enough. Like going back a step, if someone knows the unit economics for every single SKU in the business, they can therefore give very accurate KPIs to every single department. What those departments be handled in-house or externally, the KPIs can be very accurate. So then now you have teams that know exactly what to aim for, which their North Star is becoming clear. And it's also much easier now for you to look at them and be like, all right, are they performing or not? So let me benchmark them against the KPI. Now, you also need to have someone who can look at the interactions between every single one of these teams together. Because if I look at my Facebook team and they're not within KPI, but then I look at my organic organic is failing, and I know that based on my trends, whenever organic is up, so is Facebook, then instead of just firing the Facebook team, I'm gonna be able to be like, yo, organic, you need to pick things up because right now what you're doing isn't helping Facebook. And then I can then therefore more logically make decisions that impact that, like I understand the impact that each of my decisions have on every other department or component of my e-commerce business. So that's what I mean by the glue. You need someone to make that link between everyone. And that someone for the logic explained in this video just simply cannot be one agency. It just does not make sense to have everything delegated to one entity. It makes sense to have ownership over that quote unquote glue internally. And you need to find your equivalent of that glue on your side with your brand. And that glue, would that be yourself as a founder? Get yourself to be more marketing knowledgeable. Get yourself to be more financially smart. I wholeheartedly recommend it to every single e-commerce founder watching this video to become that glue themselves first, because it'll be much easier to then quote unquote delegate that glue to a CMO or a CEO down the line. To educate yourself when it comes to marketing and when it comes to unit economics and the cohesiveness of every department, and make them speak to each other. I love it when clients, as an example, if we handle Meta and TikTok for them, they're gonna put us in a chat with their Google Ads agency, or they're gonna put us in a chat with their landing page team, and then we're gonna be able to speak to them and just collaborate on the success of the business. Much more cohesive, much better. So again, find your glue. That is your North Star after this video. So at this point in the video, we've now laid all the groundwork necessary for you to start your research process. So coming up next, I'll be showing you exactly how to do market research, how to look at competitors' data, ad libraries, so on and so forth, in order to gather enough information to build an ad concept. And we'll start building this ad concept together. Oh, hey, before we get right into this clip, I just wanted to share with you what you're about to see works for any type of business. Would you be an e-commerce brand? Would you be a local business? Would you be a SaaS company? Would you be an info product? Although I personally focus a lot of my advertising efforts on e-commerce brands, again, our research process and ad building process would be the same regardless of your business type. So without further ado, let's get into the next step of this video. Now, to get straight into it right now, I've opened up a mock ad account on my side from which I'm going to be building this campaign. But to start with, again, if you're expecting this sort of fast-paced TikTok video that just goes crazy quick, you know, this is not going to be the video for you, okay? This is going to be a long-form, thorough YouTube video, really walking you through the boring stuff, so bear with me. Now, I've got my ad account opened up right now, and what I want to start doing is I want to start doing some research. What I want to do today is I want to create an ad for an Invisalign treatment for a dentist, okay? So that said, what I'm going to start doing is I will start researching more about Invisalign in itself, okay? What I'll typically do is I'll research places like Google. I'll also do like Invisalign as an example, Invisalign Reddit, and I might do something similar with like Quora as an example, and then start learning from it. So Reddit, Quora, Google just in general are usually like the places where I look for market feedback and just market research in general. Now, another way I would look at doing my research is go through the ads library in itself and see what everybody else is running right now, just to kind of understand what is my competition and also market sophistication right here. Like, how many ads are my prospects seeing? So one of the things I'll do is, like, as an example, I just typed Invisalign New York right here, assuming that I'm going to be working with a dentist in New York as an example. So now that I have that right here, I'm seeing a lot of static ads, quite frankly. So this is probably a good ad. What I could do, I mean, I could save it for now, but again, I'm not really at that stage yet. So, all right, this is an ad. This one right here, you know, Pearl Dentistry, looking at it. This is all right, but a little bit, I don't know, it's not the best from a visual aspect. This probably is much better, like just much more visually appealing if you want. Looking at it right here, I also started playing this one. I'll put it on mute real quick, but I think was a great ad right there, essentially, which we have the dentist playing in there. Now, I'm gonna be doing this video as I don't have any content from an actual dentist. Like, I'm really just making this off the cuff, and I want to make this beginner friendly. So assuming you don't have any videos from your clients or whatnot, I'll basically just do my research on the internet and find some content I could be using in my ad. One thing I know from personal experience lately, video ads have been performing a lot better across most local business spaces, simply because there is less competition. There's less people doing it. Like, it takes more time to do a video, and videos usually get a lower cost per lead. That's just my experience. Doesn't mean that statics don't work. Now, as I'm going through Reddit, I'm seeing a lot of before and after pictures. So as you can kind of see right here, like this one almost done. This is another one one essentially, all right, if I go back up, I think this one was quite strong, if I remember. There you go. So now I'm kind of seeing what are some of the photos I could perhaps use if I want to make an ad. And again, I'm just doing research at this stage. Really, purely all I'm trying to see right now is I'm trying to understand how many competitors are within my space. I'm trying to understand the ad types they're running. I'm also trying to understand essentially what is my audience openly saying about like Invisalign. Like, are they any complaints, any like common concerns, or perhaps any benefits that I see, you know, coming about? Like, you know, this one, can I eat like hot Cheetos with Invisalign? Like, obviously I would take the trays out, but would these foods stain my attachments or whatever? So all right, staining attachments seem to be a concern. Okay, so I'll keep that in mind. Now, another concern I just found right here, like attachment residue. People saying that like, okay, they've, you know, removed kind of my buttons, or, you know, I've removed my Invisalign now, and then I've got like my teeth are stained or something like this. So it's kind of interesting, right? People are afraid of the after. Okay, I got straighter teeth now, but what if my teeth are like stained, rough, or bumpy? And up, I also saw like, what if I stain my retainer in itself? So okay, now what I'm thinking about right now actively when researching is, again, potential desires or pain points my audience might be facing right now. Now, another thing that I just found on Reddit is the fear of pain, right? And I've seen that reoccurring quite a lot in my research. People are afraid of the pain they're gonna feel initially. They're gonna fear also like the pain of the movement, like whenever they change the retainer size in itself. So I think this is quite a recurring pattern now from what I'm seeing on my side. You know, people are saying like, oh, you know, no pain compared to braces. But when I actually like ended up getting it, or when I heard somebody tell me about their experience, they actually did feel a lot of pain. So that said, I think having a pain-free treatment, or I want to have a pain-free treatment, or I want to have a pain-free way of getting a better smile, are all desires that my audience seems to be sharing. And if you've noticed right here, I'll always try and move like any sort of the desires or pain points to an I want to statement. Much easier to convey in an ad message, much easier essentially to build an ad concept from if you can fit it into an I want to statement. Now, another thread that I found, which is basically the age, right? How old were you when you started Invisalign? Because that tells me a little bit more about my persona. Who's the person who buys like Invisalign, right? So like looking at it right here, I see a lot of people, right? Like 29, 28, 27, you know, 30, 40, 27, once again, 50, 59, 47, 50, 32, right? So I will probably pick like 27 up. Honestly, I think is what I'm going to do right here. Like 27 up is going to be my persona for the most part. I'm not necessarily going to structure it as like a man or a woman in that case. I think I'll leave that quite open because I do see a lot of like men and women in these different threads. But we're going to go for somebody who's 27 up, which means they're out of school. They have a good job. They still want to fix their smile, but essentially they want it to be low key. So a desire might be, well, I want a non-intrusive way of fixing my teeth, or I want a non-intrusive way of having a better smile. So I want a cost-effective way of having a better smile. It's definitely going to be one. People want to save money, so that for sure is going to be one of my desires. The second one again could be I want a non-intrusive way of fixing my smile. Then some of the common kind of pain points that I've also seen earlier is pain. People have a fear of feeling pain when getting an Invisalign. They also have a fear of like residue on their teeth, or like stain happening on their teeth. So now I'm also thinking about offers. What if I wanted to help my client create new offers for their ad before building the ad? One thing I could do is I could throw in a free teeth whitening after the Invisalign. So I could be like, my main angle could be something along the lines of having like a non-intrusive treatment by choosing Invisalign, and we'll even throw in like a free teeth whitening at the end to get rid of any like teeth stain and whatever, and leave you with the like a lined and white smile if you want. So that could be an offer I would be running off with. Now, given that my persona is probably going to be within the US, specifically I guess for this video, I'm going to pick like the state of New York to make this video. What if I'm working as an example with a dentist in the state of New York more specifically? Now, a question I got to ask myself is, how aware is my prospect in regards to Invisalign in itself? Like, have they seen Invisalign before? Is this like a first for them? So going back to this right here, right? The 5 stages of market awareness, or at least the 5 levels of market awareness, I should say. So unaware would be somebody who essentially they're not aware of their own desire, won't honestly admit it out loud. I don't think that's it. Most of the people are probably at the very least problem aware, which means they know they have a problem, but they don't see the connection between fulfilling their need and your product. So in this case, what would be the problems that my consumers might be facing? Well, they don't have straight teeth. They don't feel confident in their own smile. They have perhaps essentially like a very kind of misaligned, or like an overbite or something. So that said, they're probably problem aware at this stage. At the very least, they see themselves in the mirror every day. So it's something quite apparent, right? Teeth issues are quite apparent. So they have to be at least problem aware. So now and again, I'm walking you through my entire thought process right now. If I look into solution aware, knows he wants what the product does, but doesn't know the product exists. Okay, now this is the question where, in other words, so they want to fix their teeth at this point. So they know they have a problem with their teeth and they're actively trying to fix that problem. So now they're at a point where they're looking for solutions actively, but they don't necessarily know of Invisalign. How true is that? That's the one thing I'd say. Invisalign has become more and more popular over the years. I think there's still a small subset of the population that probably is still within problem awareness, which means they know their smile, it isn't where it could be, but they don't know of Invisalign. But I'd say 80% of the people probably know that Invisalign exists, especially within a New York-based audience. They're aware of Invisalign. They're aware they have essentially like a problem with their smile, but essentially they don't necessarily know of you as a dentist. They don't necessarily know of your exact offering, which basically would probably put them at a product aware awareness level. Okay, the bulk, as I say right here, the bulk of advertising is here, especially with a lot of local businesses. You'll find that, plumbers is an example. People know plumbers exist. Problem aware would be for a plumber, like, hey, my pipe is broken, but I don't know of any solutions. No, like, these people are for sure problem aware, right? They're most likely not unaware. They're aware their pipe needs to be fixed. They probably know of plumbers, but they just don't know that you specifically exist, or they don't know of your specific service offering. So that's where you need to be. So I'm gonna make a product aware ad. What I need to do is I need to reinforce the desire for the product. So I need to twist the knife into my pain point. I need to make the picture of what they could get much clearer with it, right? So sharpen the image of the way my product satisfies that desire. Show where and when your product satisfies that desire. Introduce new proof / documentation of how well my product satisfies that desire / announce a new mechanism in that product to enable it to satisfy that desire. So let's get to work. What desire am I going to pick for the most part? Well, the biggest one that I've seen coming about for the most part, I'm probably going to combine, I think, like two desires that are somewhat related. Like, I do see a lot of like the pain-free way of fixing your teeth, as well as having like a non-intrusive way of fixing teeth. So I'm going to make something along that line for my ad. I'm going to talk to a product-aware audience. And if I look into how sophisticated my market is, meaning how many other solutions out there, well, what I would have to do right now is I could just do like Invisalign New York as an example, and then I could start looking into how many clinics are offering that in New York in itself. Chances are, like, there's just right now, just in clinics that have Invisalign mentioned in their reviews on, the island in New York, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's quite a lot, right? New York is not that big in itself. This is probably like a 10-20 minute car ride at most to go from one to one of these clinics. So that said, chances are my market is somewhat sophisticated, but now it's not because too many people are offering it that my market is necessarily more sophisticated. Now, it also depends of how many people are marketing it within my market, which is where I would go into my Facebook ads library as an example right now and try and take a look at like how many people are actively running ads in the state of New York mentioning Invisalign, which is what I have right here. So Invisalign New York, I have about 110 ads that I see overall right now. I'll kind of keep scrolling and scrolling right here. You can see, right, this is just a great example of positioning, as I said earlier. So attention mom and dads in New York and surrounding areas. That positioning, by the way, is completely, it's aimed at the parents to get the kids on Invisalign. But that's not what I do. The persona I'm going to pick in my case, I'm going to pick the persona that did not have the money back then, but now has the money to offer them a great smile and wants a non-intrusive way of fixing their smile. That's who I'm going for in this ad. So quite a couple ads right now on Google, right? Like Manhattan Invisalign Embraces, Invisalign Clear Aligners Transform Your Life, Invisalign Solutions in New York. I go to the ad library with like about 150 ads or so. But when I look into the ads in themselves, most of them are just kind of calling out the product. There's quite a lot also that are giving like an offer or giving essentially like a specific discount on it. I would probably like to say we're somewhere between these two in terms of sophistication stages, right? Where the prospects have heard it all, so they don't believe your old claims. You can't outclaim your competitors. You must shift your process to how you transform, people, not just kind of put a claim in there. People are also copying mechanism, which means they're like at this point, they're either having like a bold claim. So at this point, they're past the stage of having a bold claim. They're even going to a place where they're introducing like a new way of Invisalign or like a specific way of speaking of Invisalign. And even that, we got to push it to the limit. So what I could do in my ad, again, it depends of where I'm I'm at right here. New mechanism will make the old claims seem fresh and believable again. Put your mechanism in your headline. I'm probably gonna use that as my first bet. Again, looking at it like this, I'm for sure not first to market. I'm not second to market either. There's quite a bit of competition, so I'm probably between these two. I'll pick that as a bet. So now I know I need to make my ad something like this, right? I need to introduce a new mechanism in itself. So what I'll do now is I'll head over to ChatGPT, assemble everything I've just learned, and start thinking about my concept hook or my concept headline, which is going to be the big bold claim I'm going to make with this ad, as well as start thinking about my ad headline and ad copy right here. So here we go. So I'm going to start feeding GPT some information about persona. So here's some information about my target persona and ad concept I want to create. Now let me keep writing my prompt and I'll show you the entire prompt I'm going to be building right now. So I have just done my entire prompt. It was quite a long one to do right now on ChatGPT, but I basically told it, here's some information about my target persona and an ad concept I want to create. You are a legendary marketer. Your objective for this prompt is to simply store the information I'm giving you for future use. Simply reply with got it. So information, persona, 27 years old and older. And I basically gave every piece of info I found on my audience by looking at Reddit and Google. So working professional with disposable income, wants to fix their teeth and have a better smile, wants a pain-free way, non-intrusive way, and cost-effective way of fixing their teeth. Recurring keywords mentioned by the audience, fear of pain, fear of teeth being stained, afraid they won't be satisfied with the end result, so skepticism about whether or not it'll work, afraid of starting to have too much saliva in their mouth when speaking, so fear of kind of public speaking with this. Now info about the product and offer in itself, so it's an Invisalign treatment. I kind of looked through everything as I told you earlier to, I think, fix the fear of teeth being stained. We're also going to throw in like a free teeth whitening and a $500 off, which seems to be fair with what the market is currently offering. Invisalign features and benefits. So basically all the kind of features and benefits I've found, mostly benefits. By the way, I didn't really go into the features that much because I think this audience, anyways, with the ad, usually what you would have done is you would have looked at all the features of the product, transformed them into like a benefit. In this case, I've just already did it. So aligners, they're transparent and removable. The results are effective and long lasting. They're comfortable. You can eat what you want, unlike braces. They're easy to care for, and treatment is also typically faster than braces. So more info about the persona. I detected from my research that they are most likely product aware. So here's what product aware means, which is what I'm giving GPT. The market sophistication probably is stage 3. So I'm also giving that info to ChatGPT. Now it said got it. So what I'm going to ask it in my next prompt is to come up with a big bold claim to put on my ad. So I just asked GPT actually what it thinks about being the biggest or the most common mass market desire shared by my audience. It probably is about having a better smile, right? So I most likely will use a combination of that and kind of, in trying to encompass some of the other benefits of Invisalign as a whole. So as you can see now, I just asked ChatGPT to give me kind of 3 different hook/headline variations according to the mass market desires chosen above. So what I'm going to do right here is kind of look into those different ones. A lot of them, again, I feel like they're way too generic. Transform your smile, not your lifestyle. Sounds very AI. Say goodbye to dental fears. Very AI. Here, revolutionize your smile without breaking the bank. I like this part, but I don't like the way it's worded. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna save that aside and do a variation of this, which is probably gonna be something like, so I asked it for more kind of casual ways of saying this third headline, and I like this one, honestly. Upgrade your smile on a budget. It is probably the best way to encompass your mass market desire of having a better smile and to keep it kind of cost effective. So I'm gonna go with that as my main concept headline. Now I'm gonna ask it for some copy and ad headline variation. By the way, what I mean by a concept headline is going back essentially. Let me show you an ad on the ad library as an example. So the concept headline would be this, okay? This bold statement at the top of an ad is the concept headline. So let me try and show you another one that we have right here. There you go, right? Invisalign open day would be their headline, or perhaps do you want a straighter smile, but a little confusing. This one would be transform your smile for less, right? This is the concept headline that we have at the top. So there you go, right? So that is what I'm gonna pick with this one right here, upgrade your smile on a budget. So now what I just asked is I asked GPT to give me like 2 long form Facebook ad pieces of copy. Typically, if you have a static ad that you're going to be building, which is actually what I want to build in this video. Why? Just because kind of looking at things, I've seen quite a bit of static ads. I think static ads do bring the point across quite good. I've been doing a little bit of research too about it. I could do a GIF, I could do a video, but again, just for the simplicity of this video, I'll keep it short and sweet with the static ad. So that said, going back to this right here, I want a longer piece of copy because my static static ads job is to hook the customer in, have them read my copy, and the copy sells the click. If I had a video, I'd want a shorter piece of copy because the goal of the copy is to get the user to watch the video, and the video sells the click. Now, it gave me 2 pieces of copy. Honestly, I like the ad headline of the first one, which that is the little headline bit that I would be putting on Facebook, that like this is an example, right? Like the schedule your free dental, blah, blah, blah. This would be the headline I'm gonna write from this first piece of copy, not sure. A second headline, I think it's great too. This makes a little bit more sense, honestly, in terms of a copy piece. I'll probably just change that call out at the start. I don't like the "Hey New Yorkers." I'll probably just say like New York City residents, and then get into the rest of this right here. So now I have my copy, I have my headline, and I have my concept headline, okay, which is what I'm gonna be using to build my ad creative. I'm gonna head over to Photoshop right here. What I'm also gonna be doing is then create my file. What I want is a 1080 by 1080 file. Why? Because whenever we do pictures, we want it to be 1:1 format, especially if I'm gonna be using automatic placement, because this is the only format that won't get like cropped out. So I'm gonna pick a 1080 by 1080, 72 in terms of PPI resolution, and click on create. Now, when I was browsing through specific ad examples that I wanted to base my static ad off of, I liked this one, meaning there's a lot of weight put towards the right with the person itself, and on the left we have essentially like the big call out, and then as well as kind of listed benefits if you want of it, which I think is something I'm going to do. I'm going to call out essentially my overall desire, list out some of the benefits on the ad, and just have like quite a simple CTA. I just had AI generate me a photo here of like a lady right there who's looking at a screen, just smiling. Again, ads when people are smiling, especially when it comes to dentists, just perform better. People just resonate better with the emotion in itself. So I'm actually gonna use that image right there in my ads. I'm gonna copy that real quick. So that's gonna be kind of the main aspect to my image. So now just a little progress update right here as I'm building out the creative. I'm just kind of added a bit of a gradient right here to make it a little darker on the side. Upgrade your smile on a budget is my big bold claim. Get $500 off your Invisalign treatment plus a free teeth whitening plan. I'm probably gonna try and get like an image of an Invisalign right here and try and like show benefits. I don't know if I'm gonna show benefits yet. I'm just thinking about it right now. I don't want the ad to be too crowded, so I'm still thinking about what I want to be doing. And again, I picked an example here. I generated this image of a lady with like a bright smile because our main mass market desire, the main angle with this ad, is to have a better and wider smile. So that's what I went with right there. And again, we wanted to do so on a budget, which is exactly kind of what I've written right here. So upgrade your smile on a budget. So now I just got done with my ad creative that I made according to, well, just my research online and kind of me going through GPT in itself. So upgrade your smile on a budget, and which that headline I basically got from GPT. Those pain points I found from my research, so put them right here. Found an Invisalign image online and book your consultation, which basically is my CTA. I added some social proof at the bottom right, assuming that my dentist actually had, 250 verified 5-star patient reviews, right? We don't want to fake anything, but the reason I did so for the context of this video is going back to my awareness level right here. What I need to do right now is introduce like proof and documentation that whatever we do works, right? That whatever we do and the way that we do it works. So that's kind of why I did it right there. I didn't really introduce a new mechanism, quite frankly, with you. There's not a lot of ways. I mean, Invisalign is the mechanism. It's not like I'm a dentist. Basically, my dentist is a reseller of Invisalign, right? It's not like they're Invisalign itself. So it's a little hard to introduce a new mechanism right here, which technically you should have done if I really wanted to have like a perfectly structured ad. But I do have like quite a good offer right here. I'm naming basically the offer right there, which is potentially enough to convince somebody of the awareness level I'm targeting to pull the trigger. So it's gonna be my ad. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go export, save for web in Photoshop right here. So I'm gonna save this ad in a second. I don't know why right now it loads a little bit. It's crooked in itself, but I'm gonna pick JPEG high in this one. File size is usually a little smaller with JPEG on Photoshop, so I'm gonna save that. Do my downloads. I'm just gonna call it Untitled for the sake of this. Make sure I have a non kind of messed up file right here. Perfect. So this is great.
So at this stage now, you either have a fully done static ad, or at least you have some skeleton of a concept. So coming up next, I want to show you exactly how to refine your newly created hook or concept headline. What are the different ways in which you can enhance it? I want to give you exactly 83 templates for you to use right now to make a stronger hook. So let's get straight into it. So here we go. Number one, target audience. Do not
sleep on this. That's an amazing one to call out a specific audience. So you could kind of say, you know, e-commerce business owners, do not sleep on this, or agency owners, don't sleep on this. Or if you're a male over 35 and you're suffering from this problem, then don't sleep on this, right? You can really call out and go very specific, right, with this type of hook. Now, number 2, have you heard much about ads? This usually is great to create curiosity at the start of an ad, right? It creates like kind of almost FOMO. It's like, should I have heard about this so far, right? Number 3, most individuals don't know how to do ads, which again, it creates exclusivity. It's like you feel left out if you do not know about this one thing, okay? Now, we're typically starting with these hook ideas by awareness level. You'll see that too. Like some of these hooks shared today, you got to keep in mind, they are positioned to work better with specific audiences, meaning some of these hooks by nature are better put towards an unaware audience, or towards a problem aware audience, or a solution aware audience, or product aware, or most aware, and so on and so forth, okay? So my goal is to bang out through as many of them as possible today so that you guys have this list and you're able to just steal from this list when making your own ads. So again, I don't want to spend too much time on the remaining like 81 something that we have. So let's just go through all of them, okay? I tried this X hack so you don't have to. An amazing one, okay? I'm going to share something very personal with you that too creates a story, creates this relationship with the audience. Now, this hack changed my life. Very similar to number 4, stop doing this, which basically that one is almost like a clickbaity hook. It just invites the user to keep watching the ad to learn about what is this? What are you talking about, right? Now, X don't want you to know about this. So the government doesn't want you to know about this, or working professionals don't want you to know about this, or 6-figure earners don't want you to know about this, or billionaires don't want you to know about this. Typically, you'll want to fill in the blank with either like a villain, right? Like a big bad villain. So this type of villain doesn't want you to know about this, or perhaps the aspirational, like the aspirational state of the customer. So if you're selling a solution on, you know, how to make more money, then it's like billionaires don't want you to know about this, right? So it's like, it's kind of gonna be a way for the regular person to know tips on how to make more money, right? That would be like a good intro to the rest of the ad. I used to waste so much money on this, which once again, that is great for a business-like audience. It could also be great for e-commerce businesses as a whole, right? So when I say business-like, this is great for the make money online space, but it's also great for, you know, skincare as an example, right? I used to waste so much money on skincare products until I discovered this all-in-one bottle, right? So 3 myths about X, or 3 reasons why this. Also great ways to start an ad, especially for an unaware ad. Now, my made me buy this. So my girlfriend made me buy this, right? So especially when it comes to feelings of attraction, feelings of feeling wanted, right? Feeling of confidence. This is a great one to use, right? My girlfriend made me buy this. My mom made me buy this. My sister made me buy this. My boyfriend made me buy this, right? So creating, you're almost going to like hijack someone else's authority. The likelihood of someone feeling liked or like they belong with people around them by purchasing X product. Now, you don't need to get So once again, this is great to add the mass market desire right here. You don't need to do this other solution in the market to get this. This is great for somebody who is solution aware, as an example, right? You don't actually need, I'm trying to think about like an example right now, but you don't need a specific type of lotion to get a clear skin, right? Or you don't need to moisturize every day to get a clearer skin. It's like, right? What is my mass market desire? I want to get a clearer skin. Well, you don't need to do this current solution that you know of, right? Now, number 14, my number 1 tip for, so again, this is just a very personal one. This is usually great for when it comes to like hijacking authority. If you have like a dermatologist on an ad, as an example, or a figure, again, of authority, some form of doctor or someone known in that space. So them sharing tips is usually going to be valuable for the audience. Now, number 15, this is why you need to know what are in 2023. Again, FOMO, right? By the time it takes you to watch this video, XXX thing will happen, or this will happen, okay? Or this will occur. So by the time it takes you to watch this video, you'd have probably already had the time to fix this skin type issue, or it's like talking about the speed, right? How fast this type of product is able to solve a problem. Why I quit industry you're comparing to. So in this case, fill in the blank, right? Why I quit smoking and replaced it with this. Why I quit using moisturizers every day and instead of now doing this, right? This is a reminder too. This is great usually for women, from what I've seen, right? Woman, this is like it almost feels organic if you start a video with that. It's like, this is a reminder to all my girlies to do this, right? Now, number 19 right here, don't make this mistake. So once again, what is the mistake, right? I need to keep watching. This is very much like on a clickbaity side. So tell me why, right? Tell me why this. Tell me why you're still using a moisturizer every single day when there's this. Again, solution awareness, right? In the example I've just done right here. Most of these hooks, again, you can tailor them to different awareness level. Now, number 21, are you ready to see the best product yet, right? Are you ready to see the best moisturizer in the market? I'm just gonna keep using the example of a moisturizer for all of this video, I guess. Probably, I don't know, maybe this is a reminder for myself to moisturize. Number 22, this is the best moisturizer ever, and I'll tell you why, right? No one can convince me there is a better moisturizer. Trying the viral moisturizer everybody's been talking about. This is the reason this moisturizer went viral. We're now going into very product-aware hooks, right? So calling out all target audience. Once again, appealing to the audience is a great way. Going back to the sentence I always do on this channel, creative is the new targeting. Well, if you call out the audience in your ad, you're usually much more likely to be able to have Facebook find you, whoever it wants to find. It's as if I started this video and I said, hey, YouTube, if you're listening, show this video to e-commerce brand owners making about $50,000 a month or so. Then it's like, great. Now I know that hopefully YouTube's listening and is going to share this video to this type of audience. It's kind of the same thing with a Facebook ad. It's like you're outwardly saying, hey, look, hope Facebook, if you're listening, target these people, which trust me, Facebook is listening. So let's keep it going. Every woman using moisturizers needs one of these. Now, warning to women utilizing moisturizers, do not buy this. Do not buy this unless you want benefit, right? So do not buy this unless you want a clearer skin. Now, buy this moisturizer, but only if you want a clearer skin. I'm never buying this moisturizer again, right? So that's like an anti-hook. It's like, huh, that's interesting, right? Instead of these guys trying to sell me on something, they're not selling me on the thing, right? Again, pattern breaking in this one. Now, this product has ruined my life. So this moisturizer has ruined my life. Again, anti-hook. Tell me you're a moisturizer owner or user in this case, without telling me you're a moisturizer user, right? So again, now makes you part of a clique. That's typically, again, very good for a solution or audience already using a moisturizer, which you're trying to convince them to get to another product. It's like you're calling out people that are part of a exclusive club for already using this said product. Now, only buy this if you want to get rid of a pain point. So only buy this if you want to get rid of a wrinkle, right? Don't let worse alternative make you pain point, okay? Number 36, tell me another product. So tell me another moisturizer out there that has unique benefit. Tell me another moisturizer out there that has I'm running out of ideas here, but you get the point of it. If you haven't tried brand product, watch this. Number 38, someone just told me this, right? Once again, clickbaity hook. Number 39, it's never too late to get on the brand product hype. Here's 3 reasons why you should do X, okay? So you've not heard of brand product? Well, here's 3 reasons why you're missing out, okay? Number 41, this product that made me do X. So this is the moisturizer that made me get a boyfriend. This is the mascara that made me get get more friends, whatever this is, right? This is the thing that they made me get these other things, okay? Number 42, if you suffer with pain point, stop scrolling. Number 43, we're almost halfway there now. We're right about halfway there. Now, when you have product, pain point becomes so much easier. So talking about how much more manageable this is, right? Or if you suffer with pain point, stop scrolling, right? It's never been as easy to get benefit. Or we all struggle with pain point, but this product can help you. Now, I used to struggle with pain point until I discovered the brand product, right? Very problem, solution, problem, right? We're now talking a lot about problem aware advertising hooks, okay? Let's keep it rolling. Now, there's never been a product like this out there. Typically, once again, product aware. It's great for this one. So this is why everyone is talking about the brand product. Again, very product aware right here. Everyone is talking about brand products, so I had to give it a try. So again, increasing social proof that might even be better for a most aware audience at this point. An honest review of brand product. Again, most aware is probably going to be the best for these types of hooks. Now, want this benefit? Stop scrolling right now. Again, that could be great for a problem aware audience. Now, you won't believe what happens when I use this product. I was shocked when I first used this product. I promise you've never seen anything like this before. Now, I promise this product will change your life. Can you believe that I used to use a worse alternative? Again, solution aware. Now, still using a worse alternative, here are 3 reasons why you need to switch to the brand product. Again, solution aware, or perhaps even product aware at this point. I can't believe I used to feel this way. I can't believe I used to endorse this brand or product. Again, problem aware. Life made, I just found this product that has this unique benefit, okay? Number 60, are you struggling with pain point? You need to get your hands on this brand's product. 61, how I got this benefit in this time frame. So again, time bound, allocating a time aspect to a specific transformation. Number 62, how to get rid of pain point in this time frame. Similar, right? Now, why product makes benefit easier, or want to make benefit easier or easy benefit? Just use this product, right? Easy way to get rid of your wrinkles. Just try this moisturizer, right? I never expected this product to be this good. We're going back to product and most aware right here. Feeling emotion, feeling discouraged. This product product can fix that for you, right? Feeling depressed, this product can fix that for you, right? I've never had a product make me feel so good about myself. I never had a product make me feel so confident about myself. Mass market desire right here, okay? This could be played in, quite frankly, with you in many different awareness levels. Now get the ultimate emotional experience when you use this product. Get the ultimate confidence boost when using this product, right? Now change your routine forever with this product. So integrating that into someone's routine, product aware. This product will make your daily routine 10 times easier. Now here's the truth about this product. So we all know someone who could do with benefit. So we all know someone who could do with a little bit more sleep, right? We all know someone who could do with better quality sleep, right? We all know someone who could deal with cooler bed sheets, right? So 3 facts about product. Now 4 lies about product. So again, hook, anti-hook, hook, anti-hook. So 3 reasons why I love this brand product, or 3 reasons why this brand product is better than any alternative. 3 things you never knew about product. Why are we using these numbers? 3, 4, 5, they're easy to remember, right? There's more than 5 things. Usually if you, the top 7 things, that's why you rarely hear about those, because they're hard to remember. 3, 4, or 5, usually great numbers, especially numbers like 3 and 5 in itself. People tend to remember numbers as such better. So like 1, 3, 5, usually great numbers to use, right? The number 1 reason why you need this, right? Or like top 2 tips. Nobody really feels compelled to listen to top 2 things, but they do when it's the number 1 reason, because it's very important, right? Number 2 seems like you're indecisive. Number 3 is like, well, yeah, it's like a triangle. And number 5, it's like, I've got all the pillars that I need, right? So that being said, let's keep it going. So I'm going to skip over a couple of these right here, but it's obviously right. 3 things you never knew about, 5 ways to get this benefit. This simple trick will save you hours. So 1 simple trick, once again, right? 3 ways to stop pain point. POV is a great one out there, right? Use it right though. A lot of people sometimes tend to call out people that use the POV in a bad way, right? A lot of people will say like POV, but it's not actually a POV. POV means it's point of view. So make sure it is recorded in the first person, kind of record it like this almost when doing this piece of content. And finally, stop this and do or try this instead. I strongly invite you to go back through this video many times, take screenshots, take note of some of these UGC hook ideas or video hook ideas and utilize those in your ads. Come back in the comments below and let me know if you found success with any single one of these. You could go as far as saying, I'm going to record 3 to 5 body or core ad pieces and just bang out 83 hooks as shared in Justin's video and just test all of these variations, which could literally propel or power your account for months on end. Now, you might have watched all of that and you're like, Justin, I want to make a UGC ad. Okay, I don't want to make a static. Well, I've got you covered. I am coming up next with a bunch of UGC frameworks that you can use and upload to ChatGPT with all the research that we would have done in this video. So you can upload one of these frameworks alongside all of the research that you would have done from what we showed you in this video, and GPT would be able to give you an entire UGC script. And so check this out. As you can see from the screen right here, the way we categorize our UGC recipes is typically by awareness levels. So first and foremost, what is a recipe? People call it in various ways: recipe, framework, structure. For me, and I'll just show you one for the sake of this example. It's something like this here, right? Hook, intrigue, engage, soft intro, CTA. That is a recipe. It's basically the steps by which you structure a UGC ad. So let me go back to the start. If you are unfamiliar with the market awareness levels, then I strongly invite you to look into it. But this is the way that we structure all of our UGC recipes. So market awareness levels are where the audience exactly is at within their buying journey. So in this case, it's always from unaware to most aware. So unaware, problem aware, solution aware, product aware, and most aware. What a lot of marketers don't seem to understand or even speak about, I'd say on YouTube or online in general, is that you need to make sure that the way you structure your video is aligned with your awareness level. Because I'll tell you that, like, sometimes I'll hear people saying like, yeah, I need people to discover more about my product. Okay, I need people to educate them on my product. Therefore, I need to speak to an unaware audience. And then they'll go ahead and make a problem solution ad. They'll be like hook, problem, solution, product intro, and then CTA. Doesn't make sense, because now there's a discongruence between what you're trying to go after, so the type of customer you're saying you want to target, and the one you're actually targeting. Typically, a lot of people start to use AI to help them write UGC script. So here's how it goes for a lot of people. They'll tell ChatGPT something along those lines. They'll be like, make me an ad that is, let's say, problem aware. Here is the problem that I want to highlight, and here's a UGC like framework that I want you to use to write the script. And then they'll give it a framework that is entirely not problem aware. And then they're left with an ad that they believe is problem aware because they told ChatGPT to do so, but it's like you gave it confusing instructions. Make me a problem aware ad and a non-problem aware UGC recipe. So that's why I categorize my recipes by awareness level. Then obviously I go through sophistication stages here. What do they mean? Unaware, essentially, what are the recipes for an unaware audience? So I've got those right here. I'll go quickly through all of them to make sure that this video is efficient, that you can kind of pause it, take screenshots whenever you want. So unaware, some of the ones that we have, it's like, did you know type of video, which are structured by hook, intrigue, engage, soft intro, CTA, engaging mystery, informative insight, surprise revelation, unseen impact, and narrative exploration. So did you know is quite an interesting one. It's basically like the hook, share something intriguing or like an unexpected fact unrelated to the product. It's like, did you know this? And an intrigue, it's like build on a fact to introduce a broader related issue, keeping the focus on educating. Continue to share information or tell a story about the issue. Avoid introducing the product. Keep elaborating on the issue itself. So it's not like introducing this product. It's more like you weave the product into the issue in itself, right? And encourage them to seek more information about the issue. So on and so forth. So those are some of the unaware recipes. I won't spend too much time here because quite frankly, we don't really advertise that much into this awareness level. But if you are, here are some of the recipes you can use. Now, here's a couple problem where you want to look into. How to and product review, mock infomercial, fail, relatable anecdote, problem amplification, or feature focus. Problem amplification, I'd say, is one of the most popular ones. So it's hook, amplify, or some people say twist the knife, solution, transformation, offer, CTA. Since you start with the problem and then lead into a solution, you assume familiarity with the problem instead of the solution. So that's the difference, right? If you led with the solution to the problem, that would be a solution aware ad. So I'm just letting you know, like here, if you literally just swap those out, it would technically become a solution aware ad. Some other ads that you can do right here, it's like hook could be the problem directly. It's like, are you tired of this happening to you, right? Or like, are you tired of back pain? Are you tired of, I don't know, not having a headrest and then having like bad posture because your chair doesn't really support you well? Stuff like this, okay? Then failed solution, highlight common unsuccessful solution to the problem. Because then we, again, don't assume familiarity with the solution themselves. Like, well, have you tried this, and this, and that? Or you probably have heard of this, but you know it's not good, right? So then we introduce the product, the benefits and the demo, testimonial, social proof, CTA. Now, let's get into showing you some solution-aware UGC recipes. So here are all the ones that I have: product comparison and replying to a TikTok comment, which is great. Myth busting, expert endorsement, exploring solutions, benefit breakdown, and educational insight. I like this first one. Honestly, product comparison. It's like you acknowledge the fact that the audience knows a bunch of solutions. Like, have you tried this, and that, but it doesn't work? And then that's kind of your hook. So you assume they're familiar with other solutions, and then boom, you get them into your product. So in front of your product, you introduce your new solution to them. Essentially, you compare traditional solutions they might have seen versus yours. So how it's different, because once again, they're aware of other options in the market. Then demoing whatever your solution does, and then CTA. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm saying you're demoing the solution, not necessarily the product itself. I'm going to give you an example. Let's say you're an app and you're advertising to an audience. So like a dating pool, right? Your app is like a dating app. Other solutions out there, it's like, have you tried these, have you tried speed dating or your local church's dating club? That is solution awareness, right? I'm not talking about Hinge or Tinder or any of these other apps, right? Which are direct competitors of mine. Here you can actually label competitors of the solution that you're offering. And then you get into your product itself. So it's like, well, look, if you tried speed dating or your local church's dating group, you might want to check out our dating app for Christians. And then you get into that, right? That is one of my favorite solution-aware framework to use. Now let's move on to product-aware recipes. So I've got this one right here. So unboxings and style exploration, inquisitive address, comprehensive showcase, benefit and demo exposure, educational insight, which is similar to the one that we have for solution-aware, product and results overview, which actually this is one that I find quite a good one. So hook, start off with an engaging hook, specific or special product details. So highlight a feature of your product, educate them about the product, turn that feature into a benefit, show the results, which basically is like social proof of that product in itself, and then CTA. That reinforces a buying decision. This is the goal with the product aware UGC ad. It means people are already aware of your exact product or very, very similar products. So all you need to do at this stage is to reinforce the fact that they already want to buy that product, or the fact that the product is really the right one for their desire or given stage, essentially. So you start off with the hook, you feature, educate about that feature, benefit, social proof, CTA. Social proof, you're going to notice, is quite important into that. That's another one here, another recipe that we've used quite often. Hook, benefit, validated, feature, demo, CTA. which again is straight to the point. All you're doing is demonstrating how can the product really help them out. How is that the right product? So make sure to weave in a lot of demonstration, so demo blocks in there. So if you have a block speaking about demonstrating the product, it's going to be good. And second thing, make sure you have some form of results or social proof that will reinforce that buying decision. Last but not least, most aware. That is typically somebody that already knows about your product and your brand. They just haven't purchased yet. So at this point, it's very much more about the social proof or the brand itself. So testimonial, reasons why comparisons, behind the scenes, loyalty rewards, unique feature showcase, direct deal alert. But I'll focus more on the top two, right? Testimonials and reasons why comparisons. Like, why should you choose Apple over Samsung? That's like for a most aware audience because they both know Apple and Samsung and they're probably very aware of both of the products. So here, hook, testimonial, special product details, reasons why comparison, CTM. Behind the scenes is another great one. That's you're trying to get them to identify with the brand more than the product. So hook, show behind the scenes of like you making that product, highlight the care and quality, CTA. Once again, you want them to buy the brand and not the product at that point because they're already aware of that product.
All right, so now you might have a script, great, but I want to show you how you can use AI to make that script come to reality. You don't need to pay a content creator to actually have them read the script out loud. No, you can use AI and some of the existing footage you might have about your product to piece that together. So let's get straight into that. As you can see on my screen, I've got 11 Labs opened up now. This is where the magic happens. So if you're unfamiliar with their UI, it's quite simple. So under speech, you essentially simply put in the text you want the AI to say. You would pick a voice or make a custom voice and tune the settings of that voice to give you a fully AI made audio file. Now, that's a very quick intro to it, but more specifically, I want to show you 3 different ads today that we made at the agency, whereas the voiceover, at least certain parts of the video, which I'll walk you through in a second, are made entirely by AI. So this one, for example, all of the audio, the entire audio is fully done by AI. So let's start playing it right now.
Immediately balanced out my skin tone, and after several weeks, my fine lines and little wrinkles have disappeared. This is incredible. I didn't believe in the power of natural skincare for my wrinkles, but this actually works. This is the Sacred Serum, and it's so powerful. I could not believe it when I
So I'll stop it right here. This is just kind of a bit I wanted to show you right there. The entire audio on this one is made by AI, and let me show you one last one, which is much shorter, actually, that is also done entirely AI-wise. All right, so let's start playing the second piece.
Take your feminine hygiene routine to the next level. I use it every day to feel clean and smell irresistible. You and your man will thank me.
All right, so quite a wild UGC piece right there. It's a client I've shown a couple of times now on YouTube. It's one of these clients essentially that's selling more of a sex-based product. But with that said, this was entirely done by AI. So was the previous one. Now, we use AI for different reasons. So one of the reasons we'd usually use AI is if a client usually comes into the agency, a lot of the time for the first couple of days, we don't necessarily have had the chance to produce new assets on our end, right? It's not like we are able to spit out new UGC pieces within 2-3 days. It takes a couple of weeks before UGC starts kicking in and rolling in from the creators that we're working with. So that said, we're usually going to repurpose a lot of the UGC assets the client would have. And the thing is, as we always say, to repurpose any existing footage a client has, if the footage was performing great, they probably wouldn't have worked with us in the first place, right? Because if we just use the same footage that they have as is, mash it up together, chances are like that's not going to get really much better results than what they were getting on their end. So we got to do something different. So one of the things that we'd like to do is doing a full AI based voiceover. So that way we're going to use a voice that sounds very, very true to life. Like it sounds human like essentially. And that's what I want to emphasize in this video. Yes, you can use an AI robot voice, a little bit like TikTok, right? The text to speech voice that does work. But I think what works better is something like this here, where I say AI, but it sounds so real that to anybody listening to this, it just seems like a human is narrating in the background, right? It seems like some real person did that. So it adds some element of believability to this type of piece. So we'll usually use it just for speed, right? Speed the results initially, but also not to just simply repurpose one of their piece of content. A voiceover has a lot to do, right, with the pacing of the video. So as an example, you could give me a folder with a bunch of clips and I can make a whole new narrative, right? I can make a whole new script with a whole new voice and narrator in the background and have like all the new sub headlines or subtitles, I should say, on screen to go along with that voice, which pretty much means apart from the footage in the background, right, the different shots, let's say, that we mashed up together, everything else is new, which means the whole concept is almost fully new. And And that has a much better chance of performing than us simply just repurposing existing UGC they have and hopefully throwing it on the ads manager and hoping it performs again, right? So speed to results, but more specifically, speeds to making a new concept is one of the reasons why we'll use an AI's voice generator like 11 Labs as an example. So that's one of those examples here with this piece of content. The first one I actually showed you, an example is to usually reuse a voice of a performing creator, or perhaps to make up for a piece of content that the creator maybe just wasn't really good with their voice. It does happen, believe me, when you work with humans, when you work with UGC creators, it happens that you have bad content. You receive bad content from the creator, you give them feedback, and they still send you some content that you don't feel is up to your standards. And now you have different choices here. You either eat up the cost and then pay for a new piece of content, wait weeks again, and then finally get it back, or you make the best out of it. Well, a way to make the best out of it is to use an AI voiceover. And usually most of the time, the content we get naturally from the creator, the shots in themselves, right? The videos and stuff that they give us, that content is usable. Usually what isn't usable is the voiceover. Sometimes for some reason, even though we've given them very clear guidelines and directions, we'll receive something that has a bad microphone. Perhaps you hear like wind in the background, or there's like a very strong accent. And that usually happens when working with new creators. So one way to do it is to go into our backlog of voices that we have, or creators that we know have a very clear voice. We can then go to 11 Labs, we'd go to voices, create, we would clone a voice of a creator that we know performs great and has a very good and uplifting tone, and then we just use that voice to make the full voiceover of a video like this one. And one of the last use cases for us is to quickly test out new hook variation. So I'll quickly play the start of that video. Only the hook part of that video was done with an AI voiceover.
I'm never using those harsh kitty washes again. Imbalanced pH can do a lot to mess things up down there. I told my girlfriend about it and she told me to get this Drippa gel. I used
All right, so now that this is done, essentially you could kind of hear a little bit the transition between the two voices. It's the same girl. It's the same girl that we just cloned the voice. So again, traditionally speaking, if you wanted to record a new hook, you would have to go back to the same creator, either hope they would record another version of the hook, or have to pay them again to have a new version of that hook. Now you can just clone their voice and do an AI voiceover to test new hooks. The biggest variable, or the most impactful variable in an ad, is the hook, right? So if you had to iterate on a winning ad, so if this ad as an example gets great results and we want to iterate on it, then one of the best ways to do so is to simply create new hook variables from it. And usually, again, obviously you wouldn't create an AI voiceover and have somebody like speak on screen and try to match with it. It's never gonna work. But if you have footage like this here where she's not talking, right? She's just kind of acting at the start. Well, in that sense, we can put whatever we want in the background of it. And that's great for us in terms of editors, right? To just edit new hooks. So typically, I'm either going to use some voices that 11 Labs already have, but for the most part, I love to use clone voices. I think they're even better. They sound more true to life. I don't know if they're pre-made voices, quite frankly, if they were made by AI or if it was like made from an actual person. To me, they all sound a little bit AI-wise, like it sounds kind of too good to be true. Whereas any of our clone voices have the small little imperfections that a real voice have, the little kind of ups and downs, the intonation. And again, it sounds A1. So I just cloned my voice as an example. I made a very quick UGC script with ChatGPT for a cuts ad as an example, and I'll let you guys hear it right now. So let me play it for you.
Ever struggled to find the perfect balance between office chic and casual comfort? That was me until I discovered the black prestige polo from Cut.
All right, I'll stop it right there. So with that said, it does sound pretty true to life right there. I think it does sound very close to me in itself. Obviously, it's quite monotone. The way to make it less monotone, I would just lower the stability threshold right here. So let me make an example for you. So I'm just gonna bring this down, let's say to 32% stability. I'm gonna generate a new voice and then I'll show you in a second.
Ever struggled to find the perfect balance between office chic and casual comfort? That was me until I...
All right, so now let me hit play for you. You're gonna see my intonation at the start is a little bit more upbeat, a little bit more like higher pitched. So listen to it.
Ever struggled to find the perfect balance between office chic and casual comfort? That was me until I discovered the black prestige polo from Cuts. It's not...
There you go. I think, again, that sounds very close to me. It's a very, very good cloning of my voice. I've tried it, by the way, because we also have clients that speak Spanish and some that do French ads. I've tried the voice cloning in other languages because they do offer it in a bunch of different languages. French, I have a lot of French Canadian clients, and that in itself isn't the most optimal. The French Canadian accent just isn't really picked up that much by the AI. So it'll usually do like a weird French from France like accent. So anyways, English, I think especially American English accents, the translation from it or the way the AI will pick up your voice is usually very good. I've noticed even if you have a slight accent in English, it's still gonna pick up your accent and clone your accent quite good, which again, very interesting. But to recap the different uses I make of AI voiceovers, number one, speed the results. So I'll just get all the video content I have from a client and make a whole new storyline, a whole new concept by making a new UGC script, having the subtitles on screen that back up the script, and having a fully AI made voiceover. So that's one. Number two is going to be to either make up for a bad UGC piece that we got and to kind of replace that audio with an AI made audio, or three, which is going to be to iterate on an existing winning ad. So instead of having to go back to the creator, we can quickly make new variations of that same winning ad. There's obviously other use cases that we made in the past, such as making like a testimonial mashup. So you do a mashup of a bunch of ads together, but that's quite close to the first scenario, right? I said time to results. So no matter what type of mashup you're thinking about, if you mash everything up together and you make like a whole new UGC script and have it done by AI, it does the trick.
So now at this stage, let's recap. You know the fundamentals, you know the landscape that we're in, you've done your research, you've built out an ad creative, and you're ready to launch it. Well, coming up next, I want to show you exactly how to build your ad account structure on Meta, how to upload your ads, and what this should all look like on the ad platform.
And so now that dynamic creative testing has officially been faded out of pretty much all of our ad accounts. Now, what exactly are we doing when we build a new campaign? I'll show you that today, and I'll build that campaign live with you. Now, I've been saying again, a lot of our focus is on the creative level now, which means that the creative strategist, the editing team, there's a lot of focus being put there. Whereas on the media buying side, once again, it's getting simpler and simpler by the day. I put to the test two new structures to see which one would perform best. And honestly, I've got some pretty interesting findings for you. So both of those have the exact same structure besides the optimization type. One of them is a CBO, so campaign budget optimization. The other one is an ABO, so ad set budget optimization. Now, when I go into the strategy of it, it looks like that. So if I edit this said campaign and I go into an ad set, basically the way that we structure the ad set is the same way as we used to do before, which is a 3-2-2 method. So 3 ad creatives with a small tweak between each of those, which I'll show you what that looks like. Then 2 pieces of copy, 2 headlines. When it comes to the targeting type, I mean, I can scroll down right here and show you. For this account, it's literally Canada and the US as a whole. If I click show more options, you know, minimum age is literally 18, and there is nothing else. It's very super simple. So we're using very limited audience controls here. Again, it's pretty much age and location, and in a lot of cases, I don't even precise the gender. Okay, so what we do now is instead of having one ad right within this ad set that we would have turn on with the toggle dynamic creative testing at the ad set level, all we simply do now is we put our 3 ad creative variations as standalone ads within this ad set, and then we put 2 pieces of copy and 2 headlines per each of those. So if I look into like ad 1 as an example, and you can see that from the right of my screen, like ad 1 looks like this, and then, you know, ad 3 as an example looks like that, and then ad 2 looks like such. Now again, I haven't zoomed in fully into the ad out of privacy for that specific client, but the main variable is the small underline text, the small like sub headline if you want, right below the bold headline. In other cases, what you might want to check out is testing a different hook, so a different concept headline, so this big bold headline to be different. And in other cases, you'd want to keep the same hook, so the same concept headline, the same sub headline, as well as just simply test out different visuals in the background. So again, it's kind of up to you to decide which of these variables you want to start by testing out. But as you can see, those are 3 very similar creatives with just one small tweak between each of those. But if I now scroll down and I kind of show you the copy right here, as you can see between all of those, it is the same exact copy. And if I scroll down a little bit more, you can see it's the same exact headline. Typically what we'd be doing is we'd pick 2 pieces of copy and again 2 headlines right here that fit within this concept. Now, the question I often get is, Justin, do you always create a new piece of copy? Do you always create a new piece of headline? My answer to that is it depends. So if we've already made ad concepts before of a similar type, so as an example, what I mean by that is it had the same variables, it had the same mass market desire, it had the same persona, it had the same product in mind, it had the same awareness level, then therefore, if we've already made pieces of copy for these types of creatives and they've worked well, we might as well reuse them right here. Truth is, again, those pieces of copy, they're not going to do as much of an impact on this ad's success as the creative
will. It's really an 80-20. Like it's an 80% creative, a 20% copy. And especially if we've, again, had a fundamentally aligned piece of copy we've made before that, again, it fits exactly the same creative variables that we're using here, we're going to be reusing them. If we don't, we're going to be producing one new piece of copy, and we're just going to be reusing one past winning piece of copy in the account, and then one new headline, and then one past headline. And so if I open up this campaign at the ad set level, then what you can see here is basically all the quote unquote dynamic creative tests that we've launched for this campaign. And this one is the CBO campaign more specifically. You can see it's allocated most of the budget by default to one ad, which is normal in a dynamic creative testing campaign. And then if I open up this ad set, you can kind of see between the 3 creative variations, what do you know? One of them is getting most of the spend, which again, that is normal and to be expected from a structure like this. These ads are typically not really going to compete against each other. One is usually really going to take up the spend. And you can see that right here. It's like a clear winner in a lot of cases. Like we have a much higher click-through rate than any other ad. But funnily enough, look at the CPM. It's a much higher CPM too. What that could mean in itself is that this is an ad either acting more as a middle or bottom of funnel kind of liaison. So it is kind of quote unquote retargeting some people by default, even though you've seen it at our ad set level. Or as opened up as we can be, this might be again an ad that acts more as that middle or bottom of funnel, which is why the CPM is higher, which usually is a good indicator of, again, CPM being higher. Now, I often get questions too about something like this here. They're like, well, Justin, my ROAS is good, but my CPM is very high. Should I like try something new? Should I try another concept? My answer to that is, again, it doesn't really matter. Like at the end of the day, as long as you're profitable with an ad, like you should not really care as much about what its CPM is. And then if you look at this here and you're like, well, Justin, why is Facebook spending all on the third variation of this ad and not on the second one? The second one has a higher ROAS. Yeah, but it's spent a lot less too. Now, if Facebook decided not to spend as much on this second variation, it's probably because it didn't think it could scale in itself. And funnily enough, we've actually tried it on that account to see, well, what would it look like to manually allocate spend to these given ad creatives? So on an ABO versus a CBO. And what do you know? Funnily enough, our CPM is actually lower, almost half as low on an ABO, which again, the same exact creatives, but click-through rate for some reason was much lower. And honestly, we just weren't able to scale it as much as we were able to do it with the CBO campaign. And therefore, it kind of goes without saying that the simpler your campaign structure, the better the ad results. That's usually what we've seen. It's much easier for you and your media buying team to follow what's going on with the account. It's much easier for you to know what the scale, what the kind of KPIs is. And last but not least, it also just puts the pressure in one variable, which is the ad creative. And so how would it look like to build a campaign like this to test your ad concepts? Let's build one together. So number one, you'd want to click create right here. You'd want to pick sales. I never really worry about awareness, traffic, engagement, so on and so forth. What we want to focus on is a conversion, which in other words is money. In this example, I would go to manual sales campaign. I would click continue. Then what I want to do is I would want to turn on right here advantage campaign budget. So I call it a CBO, but other people might call it an ACB. So it's the same thing in itself. It's the campaign optimizing that budget. Now, what daily budget would I start at and how many creatives would I typically do to start? I would usually do 2 to 3 ad creatives to begin, and my daily campaign budget would have to equate 2 to 3 times my target cost per action. So as an example, if my goal is to get a sale for about $30, then I want to launch 2 to 3 concepts. So let's just say 3 for the sake of this example. Well, I want to launch 3 concepts with a roughly $30 cost per target action. So therefore I'm going to do 3 times 30. So I'm going to do $90 campaign budget, and I'm going to put $90 right here. Even though I do not expect this budget to be split evenly across all ads, I at least in my mind am assuming that if Facebook had to split this budget evenly across all of my ads, can I assure that I will be getting at least a sale a day per ad based on my KPI? So that's kind of what I want to do with that here, which you and I both know watching this video, and from the example I've showed you earlier, usually there's an imbalance. Now, sometimes the budget is split quite evenly, especially in the first few days of you launching new creatives on a new campaign. But most of the time, 1 or 2 of these ads are really going to take up most of the ad spend, which again, doesn't really matter in this case. And actually, it's a good thing that this happens because it kind of easily tells you, hey, this third creative or so that you've launched, it's not really good, or Meta doesn't really like it. hit as much. So I would do, again, daily budget about $90 for this example. Then at the ad set level, I would typically name this like the ad in itself. So I go like ad 1 as an example right here. And then I would pick my destination, my pixel right here, maximize number of conversion event would usually always be purchase in itself right here. Now you can see this account technically still has dynamic creative, but again, most accounts it is being phased out as we're speaking, so I don't really worry about that. If I'm launching my campaign, I would typically schedule it for the next day. So in this case, like October 12th at 12 a.m. I have found that CPM and performance usually a little bit more stable if I launch at 12 a.m. so at midnight for the following day than launching like live right now. So nowadays I just always launch and schedule at midnight for the most part. Going down, I would pick my location right here. So usually a country, so Canada and or the US as a whole, minimum age, and then if need be the gender, but again, honestly, most of the time, Meta will just figure itself out. It'll kind of pick the right gender by default, and I'll even show you an example of that in a second. Placements, I'll always leave it Advantage Plus placements, which basically I'm just letting Meta figure it out. A pro tip for that is actually, let me show you. Some of the ads, or most of the ads that we're making actually, would they be a static or a video ad, we'll make them to fit a 9:16. So as you can see here, that's what they would look like on a 9:16 format. And we'll also keep in mind that like we'll basically make this ad that if it gets shrunk to a 4:5, so on Facebook feed or on Instagram feed, then it would look still good. Like the cropping version would be great. So in other words, all of the core and key information for this ad fits within a 4:5 gap, but we also just don't let Facebook kind of add some blur top and bottom. We now put something in that top and bottom so it looks good or branded nonetheless. That is an example of that on screen. And here's another example of that too. It can be as simple as just extending the static color, the solid color in the background, which again, still looks good if seen under a story format, but appears very well too if cropped on a feed format, as you can see right here. And funnily enough, for that client, we just knew already from looking into their purchase data that women purchased more often than men did. And this is pretty much what's happening by default with the ad spend allocation by Meta. As you can see, it's primarily spending towards female, spending very low amounts towards male. And this is a healthy split. We haven't enforced gender and it's happening good. And I would recommend for anybody watching that, regardless of the brand or industry that you're in, even though you might tell me, Justin, like it's impossible for a man to buy my product. Like it's a woman's only, like I'm selling, you know, as an example, mascara or whatever. Then it's like, well, still try it out. Like, again, it doesn't hurt to try it out. Usually in most cases nowadays, I find that like leaving gender open still produces some very interesting results on Meta. And so what I would typically do is at the ad level, I would pick here like my page. Obviously I would name my ad 001 as an example A, so like the first variation, or I could simply call it like ad 001 v1 as an example right here. And then I would scroll down. I would do media setup, manual upload, single image or video. I would keep on multi-advertiser ad. I don't mind usually having my ads being showcased alongside other competitors' ads or so on and so forth. When it comes to catalog, I'm just gonna go ahead and go none. I'm not gonna pick any sort of catalog option. Source URL, that is something new that Meta now has, which basically you can put a URL, which usually I invite you to put in the same URL that you would send people to. So if you scroll down, there's like the destination URL, which is something different. The source URL is if you have any sort of discounts or offers live on a product page, Meta can actually pull some of these information and then display it alongside your ad with one of their standard enhancements. So typically the source URL, I would just put it the same thing as the destination URL. When it comes down to media, I would pick the first variation of this concept I'm about to make right now. So as an example right here, I have these, which are all like the same assets, the 3 ones that say like 21. So I would pick on the first one, I would go next. Then right here, I would leave it to cropped, so 1:1 for a feed, to original for 9:16. And usually I would like, but this one is the only one that I would probably do like a manual cropping actually. So there you go, something like this right here, which encompasses like all the information I have for this placement. I would go next. Optimize, I would typically turn them on and turn them right back off, because usually like even if they're off, some of them are typically on by default, which you don't want that. So I would go done. Primary text, again, I would go copy number 1. Then I would go, copy right here, number 2. Same thing like headline number 1. I would go headline number 2. Description, I personally always leave it blank. I never really use description. I don't think it has any sort of big impact in the type of ad that I'm running in itself. So again, this is just something that I personally don't really use at all. And then if I keep on scrolling down, call to action, I usually always use shop now for an ecom brand, learn more for an info product or a coaching company like this one is. Then URL, again, I would put the URL. The call button, I would typically just uncheck that. I would leave it off. Event details, I mean,
unless you have like you're hyping up like a Black Friday, Cyber Monday promotion or whatever. I would just leave this off. Languages, I also leave this off. Website events, I would pick my pixel right here. And then last but not least, if you are using something like TripleWire or Hyros or so on and so forth, you could put your URL parameters. And then very simple, all you would do is then now that you've put in your copy, your destination link, the source link, the headline, all you would have to do is go quickly duplicate. And then you would go here, you would rename this duplicate to like, let's say add one v2. And then I would simply scroll down, go to this, I would remove my creative, I would go add media, add an image again. I would add like the image number 2 as an example. I would repeat this. So I would go like 1 by 1 for the cropping here, which I can change, how it looks like as an example. Original, then here again, I could pick in the same asset, go in here, go in 1 by 1 for this one, manually checking the cropping. Here, I just go crop, I select my cropping manually, go apply, next. Turn on optimization, turn them off. So that way they're all completely off, go done. Boom, that's it. I just duplicate it one last time, so for V3, and then I'll be completely done essentially with that. And then I'll be able to just go ahead and hit publish and then launch this campaign right here. Okay, in this case, obviously, like if I'm gonna be publishing like other ads, and I would just simply duplicate now, I would go a quick duplicate on the entire ad set to then make like my ad too. And then usually the destination link probably is going to be the same. Especially like if I'm doing in the same campaign, it should typically be advertising the same thing. So I would just go that right here. And that should pretty much be it overall.
All right, now you've launched your ads. Great. Well, there's one important step you have to do right now moving forward. That is waiting a few days after launching your ads before touching them. How long should you wait? Why should you wait? Well, that depends. Coming up next, I'll walk you through exactly what to do moving forward. So as you can see on my screen right now, I am on a client's Hyros account, and I'll show you both their Hyros and their Facebook ad account to show you what I want to make as a point for this video. Now, one of the leading causes in ad accounts performance unstableness or decline, right, is usually when people make erratic changes. And that is something I see across a lot of the accounts that I audit. So on a given monthly basis, I'll audit about 30 to 40 e-commerce and info product business accounts. That doesn't count the hundreds of clients I speak to when it comes to consulting and through my gig at Educate also. So now typically I'll see people making very quick changes when launching an ad. So as an example, they'll launch a new ad campaign or a brand new ad into an account, and they'll decide within a couple of hours or maybe within a day or 2 days most whether or not the ad should stay live, right? So I'll see that usually in two scenarios. You'll either have the people that have quite a small budget, they'll launch a new ad, the ad barely got any spend, and they'll kill it. Or on the flip side, people that do have enough budget, right? They're spending enough on their ads. And by the way, what is enough? I try and spend per ad at least my KPI a day. So what I mean by that is if I'm aiming to get, let's say, sales, so a CPA target of $20, then each ad should be able to spend or receive at least about $20 a day, right? So if I have 3 ads, then I should be able to spend about $60 a day. Now, looking into this account, we knew from previous campaigns that they had ran that they were able to actually get leads for about $10 to $12. Like that was kind of the ballpark of the account. So we're coming in and we're launching new campaigns because this client has a limited time offer going off, and we need to spend a lot of money within about a week and a half, right? Our goal was to spend about $30,000 to $40,000 in a week and a half for that info product business of ours. So now we're looking into it, and what I wanted to show you according to Hyros is 2 graphs, the one that tracks cost per lead and the one that tracks customer acquisition cost, so CAC, okay? Because what we're running right here is an opt-in funnel where people then become a customer for a low ticket offer, okay? So let me show you first of all the graph for cost per lead, okay? First day that we launched these new campaigns, $42 cost per lead. Insane, right? Insanely high. Then second day, even worse, $62 cost per lead, right? We're like, man, we need to fix something right here. And then third day, oh, what do you know? $19. Then day 4, $9. Then day 5, $9.44. Then day 6, $7, and so on and so forth. Now, let me bring this up to Facebook to show you a little bit better how this looks like. So day 1, we launched with 1 campaign, sending people to the funnel of the client, which is actually straight on a landing page that they've built. You can ignore the ROAS right here because it's actually not set up as an event to properly track on Facebook. We're optimizing for leads on Facebook, but with Hyros, we're able to track if somebody from a lead actually makes a purchase in the back end. So with that being said, day 1, right? $31 cost per lead. That's according to Facebook, as you saw higher on Hyros. Now, the point is the same. The proportions of the increase is the same, right? So very high cost per lead on day 1. Now, day 2, here's what happened. We launched a new campaign. Okay, so what we did, we're like, hey, look, let's not turn off this campaign so far. Let's not not be dramatic here. This is a first day. Let's give it some time. Now, my rule of thumb is no matter how much ad spend you have, you should let a campaign or a new ad run at bare minimum for 48 to 72 hours before making a change to it. And this video is going to prove to you why. So day one, going back to it, right? We were at about $31 for a lead on, according to Facebook. Once again, you saw high-res was a little higher for the opt-in campaign, sending straight to the funnel. Now, when it came to our cost per lead right here for the opt-in as an instant form, so on Facebook itself, $31 a lead. They're like, well, it's not really doing better, is it? Now, day three, let's look at it. What do you know? Dramatic drop. According to Facebook, once again, not yet seen on Hyros, but nonetheless, soon to be seen on Hyros. $11 cost per lead on the opt-in funnel and $10 cost per lead on the instant form funnel. Let's keep going, right? $6 cost per lead, an all-time low record for the account. $3 when it comes to the funnel itself, $7 to instant forms. Let's keep going. Saturday, right? Okay, a little bit back up, $9. But now take a look at our daily budget. We started off on the 25th, $700 a day. By Saturday at this point, we're scaling. Why? Because we know we've hit KPI. How do we know that? Once again, did you notice that campaign here at the bottom? Although I launched a new campaign, nothing has changed in the ads nor the targeting. The only difference is this destination. Instead of sending people to an opt-in page on a landing page, we switched that opt-in page to be as an instant form on Facebook. But by letting this second campaign just keep running, we've been able to figure out that, hey, you know what? We're able to get a pretty good cost per lead. Now, we did drop the budget momentarily, but bear with me here. We're bringing it back up. So $1,900 in ad spend by June 29th. Now, June 30th, $2,100. By July 1st, $3,300 a day. Then July 2nd, $3,800 a day. Then if you look at Wednesday right here, we're starting to maintain in terms of budget. Once again, ignore ROAS. It is not accurate as of right here. But take a look at this. We're maintaining cost per lead. We're basically at the exact same point. We're not really doing better or worse in terms of cost per lead. And we were at a much lower daily budget about a week before. In fact, we're even much better, right? It's June's 27 right here. Let's go back to June 26, about $30, so on and so forth, okay? So by simply letting a campaign run, we were able to have it just stabilize itself. And that, to be honest, is the beauty of letting the algorithm do its thing. I am telling you how many people I have seen shooting themselves in the foot by just being erratic and making emotional changes when performance aren't there and they're just, I need to change everything on the account. You don't. Just give it some time, okay? Now, how do you know if you should give it some time or hey, this is really heading south, you should pull the plug immediately? Well, typically, once again, right? Let's just hypothetically say this account, from what we knew previously, our target cost per lead was at about $10. Okay, that's what this account was able to get usually. Well, now we're getting $30 on day one. So we're like, nah, this is high. But let me go back to Hyros real quick. First day, $42 according to Hyros. We're like, this is really high. Day two, we're at $62. So we're like, look, this is still incredibly high. It's going from bad to worse. Tomorrow morning, we'll make some changes if this hasn't changed. What do you know? 72 hours later, $19. Now we're like, hey, we're not gonna turn things off because it's actually going down. We're still out of KPI. In fact, we're twice out of KPI. Let's give it some time because the trend now is showing some improvement. Day four, $9, right? Just letting things live within 4 days fixed itself. Nothing happened more than letting things go and fix themselves. Okay. Now at that point, to get it even lower by the day, what we've started to do is introducing new ads. So we've changed the ads in themselves and started optimizing the ad level within about 4 days. Typically what I always say is, again, within about 3 days, like roughly, of ads being live, you can start changing the ads in themselves and making changes to them, which is what we've done here. We were able to know like, all right, cool. By day 3, we're not yet within KPI, but we're slowly getting there. So let's not turn everything off. Let's just optimize. Let's kill the ads that we've launched that didn't work. Let's keep the ads that we launched that did work and launch a new test, which is what we've done ultimately for this account. And now I want to bring your attention to CAC, because ultimately speaking, right, that client, yes, wants leads because their appointment setting team for this info product business is working those leads. But on the other side, they also want customers, right? Truth is, leads that don't turn into customers are worthless. Take a look at CAC right here. At the same time as cost per lead was rising, our customer acquisition cost was insanely high. Okay, insanely high. $200 on day 1, $600 on day 2. Then by day 3, look at that, $118. $118. We're still twice out of KPI as a cost per lead basis, but when it comes to CAC, we're well within KPI. So we're like, all right, look, do we want to spend for leads that are a little bit more expensive? Is if our customer acquisition cost is within KPI, it's like, well, we don't really matter, right? We don't really mind. Leads are worthless again if they don't become a customer. And for the entire rest of the week, you can see that, hey, look, CAC is, yes, doing a little bit of, yo-yo, but it's fairly stable overall. Now, we scaled the budget dramatically dramatically over the weekend, as you have seen on the account earlier on Facebook. And that caused, once again, huge spike in CAC. Cost per lead stayed stable, not CAC. What does that mean? On this account specifically is, hey, we're acquiring leads for the same amount of money, but we're actually reducing the quality of these leads, which is normal because we've went from basically $700 a day here to about $3,000 a day here, which is a huge and rapid scale because once again, we were on a time crunch to fill up this client's challenge funnel. Now, when customer acquisition cost rises, but cost per lead stays stable, as mentioned earlier, that means that the lead quality is going down. How do we fix lead quality? It's two ways. Again, you can panic, turn everything off, and just say, oh my God, this is not working right now. I need to start changing the form. I need to start changing the funnel. Or you could wait because we again went from $700 to about 1.5K to 2K to 2.5 to 3 to 3.7K in that time span. The jump to 3.7K was the one that just caused all of this spike in CAC. We let things stabilize. Look at the next 2 days. CAC went back down to 300, now to 200, and today so far, we've yet to compile the stats, but I can tell you for a fact, it is still going down. It's slowly going back down to an equilibrium point. So the overall lesson in this video is don't panic. Seriously, if I had just in both of these cases right here, both peaks that you see in this video, which is, oh my God, I just launched a new campaign with a high budget. My ads are not working. I need to kill everything today immediately because I need to fix this, would have probably caused this account to just do swings in performances, right? Because the same thing would have happened again. If I would have probably relaunched another campaign, it would have been super high again at the start. And I would have been like, oh my God, I need to turn everything off. Like, this isn't the move. I let things stabilize. And so they did. Same thing here. We now started scaling. Things broke. If my initial reaction was, oh, I need to descale immediately, turn everything off, it would have probably tanked the performance once again. Well, we let things stabilize, and what do you know? CAC is slowly going back down to an equilibrium point. So my lesson here is just don't overreact. Let things be for a little bit. Now, of course, I'm not saying here, let things live for 2 weeks. And as I kind of mentioned as a clickbaity hook at the start of this video, don't just go on vacation and just close your laptop and say, whatever ads I launched are just going to work. It's not true. I told you our two main optimization points were around day 3 or 4 right here, where we swapped out the ads for, or at least the non-performing ads for some better ads. And now that brought, cost per lead and stuff even more down. And around this mark right here, so on July 4th, we also changed the form itself also. Even though CAC was slowly going down, we adapted the form itself to enable us to spend more to get leads because, hey, look, we're aiming for $10 a lead. We're currently spending $8 a lead. So we can spend more for leads if we get a better CAC because we get better qualified leads. So we increased our forms like toughness, if you want, a little bit more friction, added 2 more conditional logic questions on the form that we have right here. So although I did let things be, I did changes, just not immediately when things started going bad. Within 2 to 3 days of things going quote unquote bad because they've already looked better before me even making any of these changes. So if we recap everything that we've learned or talked about today, number 1, how much is a good amount of ad spend minimum to spend daily? Well, spend at the very least your KPI a day per ad that you have live. So if you have 3 ads running and your goal is to get a lead or a cost per purchase of, let's just say $25, then you must spend, in this example of you having 3 ads live, $75 a day minimum. Second thing is whenever you launch a new campaign or wave of ads, let them be for minimum 48 to 72 hours. Do not touch them. And if after 72 hours or so that the trend is looking better than at the start, but it's still not within KPI, what I would say is optimize or perhaps even give them an extra day because that just might be everything it needs to fix itself. Now, if within 48 to 72 hours, it's looking from bad to worse, then kill it. Obviously kill it. I wouldn't have let things running still here as of the 27th of June if things still didn't look good from the start, right? Day 3 is really when things started to stabilize from the get-go. Okay, so 3 and 4 were the best days by far, but just letting things be. But if it was looking even worse, I would have killed everything. I'm telling you. All right, good. So now at this point, you've launched your ads, you waited a couple of days, and you're ready to take action. But your ads may or may not be working as well as you'd want to. So what KPIs should you be looking for? What CPM is normal? What click-through rate is normal? And what should you do or tweak in case one of these metrics is not what you want it to be? Well, I'm about to show you exactly how to do that. As you can see, I've got an ad account opened up in front of me, and I want to show you some of the industry averages in terms of KPIs. One of the first thing I'll obviously look at if my ads aren't performing is probably going to be the ad itself, right? It's going to be CPM, click-through rate. See, is any of these 2 metrics completely wrong or out of whack essentially with my ads? Now, CPM is dependent on a couple of things: country, So US CPMs are always going to be higher than, let's say, a European country as an example, right? Because there's just more competition in the US. So that's one thing. Also, the bigger the country, usually the smaller the CPM. So that said, it depends on the competition in itself. There's just a rule of thumb saying the less competitors with the bigger audience, the lower CPM is going to go, because then the more bids you can win and the easier it is for you to appear on your customers' feeds, which is partially why I've been preaching, broad audiences on the channel for a while, because they get you to low CPMs in general. But that aside, that specific ad account I have opened up in front of me actually is a skincare client in the US. So that said, that's usually quite a competitive space. CPMs are going to be higher than usual. They're probably going to be about like 40, 50 bucks. I'd say for the most part. Same thing as the supplement space is also going to be, 30, 40, $50, let's say at most, within the US market. Now, that said, if ever you're going to see a CPM that is like nearing $70 or more for pretty much all e-commerce industries across most major markets, so I'm talking about the big 5 countries, you are like, something's wrong with the account. Other factors that would affect like CPM could be the creative type. You're going to notice that sometimes static ads versus, let's say, video ads might have a different CPM, and that's normal in general. Like, different creatives will have different CPMs, but if you near 90 bucks or more, seriously, something's wrong with the account. Like, that's not normal, and that then comes an account-wide issue. Could be because you're advertising too much on the line with Facebook's policies. It could be because your website just doesn't convert at all, and Meta has a hard time getting out of learning phase. Let's say it's always learning limited because of your website. So now, that said, they're penalizing you with a higher CPM. Could be your page score also just going down. Could be a lot of reports of spam on your ads. Could be many things, but CPM going this high is not normal. So that's one of the first thing I look into. Then I'm going to look into CTR. I look into 2 metrics, CTR all and outbound CTR. CTR all is just the overall engagement of my ad. It's not really important, but it's just like, how engaging is my ad in general? How many people are going to be commenting, clicking on the ad, pausing the video, turning on the sound? Like, any sort of click on the ad is counted in CTR all. And that, you want to make sure it's at least 2%. Now, I picked this account by default because it's our best account creative wise. Like, creative wise, we're crushing it for this client. I'll show you other more realistic accounts in a second, but you'd want to aim for about 2% in terms of CTR all, which just means, again, overall, how engaging is the ad. But more importantly than that, and keep in mind, every metric I'm going to show you today, it gets more important as I go. Like CPM, I really don't mind having a higher CPM if my ad is still above KPI. The ultimate thing is like, is my new customer ROAS or my CPA or whatever it is that you're optimizing for, is that within KPI? If that's within KPI and any of these other stats are wrong, forget everything I'm saying right now. It doesn't matter. You can have a shitty CTR, but if the ad is converting, then great. Keep it on. Like, don't turn it off, because it is profitable. So all I'm saying is that you might be able to improve it further now that you've learned what I'm about to share in this video. But that said, don't turn it off. So you want to aim for 2% CTR all, and you want to aim for about 1% or more outbound CTR, which you can see we're way above that for that client. Now, when it comes to link clicks to landing page viewer, actually, before I even get into that, just explaining quickly, outbound CTR is the people that click on the link to go to your website. Okay, so the people take an action on the ad in itself. So just to be clear with this. Now, moving on to the website in itself, you want to make sure that link clicks to landing page view drop off isn't more than a 20% drop off, meaning that 80% of the people that click on the link of your ad end up landing on the landing page. Because if it's less than that, usually you have a website loading page issue or like a page speed issue or whatever it is. Something's wrong with the website. That client, I just did the math, they have like a 90% roughly carryover, which means there's only a 10% drop off. So quite healthy overall. And frankly with you, every single one of their stats is within KPI, which is why I picked that client to start. That's like probably our most perfect funnel I'd say we have at the agency. And that's why I'm saying this is the golden goose of like having a perfect funnel across pretty much all metrics. Because then I go to here, when I go to landing page view to add to cart, you should aim for about a 10% ratio right here. They're exactly there, exactly 10%. Checkouts, by the way, don't mind it. For some reason, it's like over attributing, but pretty much all of the add to carts, or almost all of them, end up checking out. And out of the checkouts, about half end up becoming a purchase, which again, very, very healthy. Overall, very healthy. We're at about 4% conversion rate so far on that funnel. Now, one of our 2 funnels is profitable. The other one isn't, because like this one CPA is 23 bucks. This one is like 70 bucks, which is no bueno. That client essentially will make back about $105 with a customer. So here we're at about a 3x return. Whereas this one, like again, 70 bucks and they're making back 100 is not profitable for that client. So we know this is something that we have to improve. You can see that like they have 2 products in itself that they're mostly advertising for, the patches and the balm in itself. And if I show you the balm, right, click
clicking on the ad set in itself, much better when you look at CPA, like 18, 14, $23, 31, you know, at the highest like 46. But as you can see, this is definitely off, you know, as of right now. So going back right here, one of our products like is outperforming the other, which is usually what we move on to our scaling campaign. This, again, I'm testing a bunch of different campaigns for the most part. A new structure, I'm like trying to see whether or not it makes sense currently that our media buyers are testing. It's like using the DCT model for creative testing. Sometimes in ABO, you see like we still have it in CBO in some cases. So sometimes we'll do an ABO for a DCT testing, forcing spend to it. The ones that work, we put them into an Advantage Plus campaign and just kind of let Facebook decide how to allocate spend from there. So don't mind this. I might make a separate video about this in a bit. This is just us like testing or experimenting stuff as we always do across all accounts, but this is still all broad targeting in that sense. Now let me show you a bit more of a realistic account in this sense. Now this account in itself, you can see CPM is much lower. They're still in the health and beauty space, still advertising within, partly is US, partly is also Australia, which you can see the difference, right? Look at this, CPM in the US, $15, CPM in Australia, $8. So completely different, which is why I said earlier, CPM differs wildly based on the countries and markets. Now, CTR all, again, the KPI from earlier, 2%, right about 1.41% for this account. So I know we can do better, okay? But if I go ultimately speaking at the end, let me actually change my columns right here and show you. ROAS currently for that account is about 3.1. That client's break even is 2.2, and they wanted to focus more on profitability in the short term to like increase cash flow and such. So they asked us to try and drive the account above 3, which is what we've done for this month. Look, we're at 3.1 overall right here. Anything else I could discard. I don't need to show you anything else because it's like, look, if this is 3.1, we're doing great. At this point, this again is profitable. I don't need to look at anything else. But what if I wanted to go for micro improvements on the account? Sure, I could look at other areas, which is why now if I go to my columns and I add essentially CTR all, and I also add outbound CTR to my columns, I would see 1.4% overall CTR all. 2% is what I would want to aim for. More importantly, 0.7% outbound. Well, I want to aim for 1% or more. I can see that my US campaigns are performing much better in terms of CTR. But again, what do you know? More people are clicking, but less are converting because my ROAS or in itself, right? It's like 2.68, whereas I have 3.84 and 3.32 on the Australian market. But if I wanted to have an area of opportunity to improve, I would definitely improve my click-through rate. How do I do that? It's purely creative, right? Purely my creative. My creative isn't strong, or isn't strong enough, I should say. And I'm saying that again with a very fine line in my messaging. I say isn't strong if all I look for is CTR, but it's strong enough to convert. The market is converting. So if it is converting, then the creative must be strong to an extent, but it could get stronger is the conclusion I'm having from here. Same thing, ignore that client. For some reason, I'm seeing like just a lot of checkout issues lately in terms of reporting across many accounts that are syncing automatically the conversion API on Shopify. But look at this, right? When we go back to unique link clicks, 5,100, 5,500 landing page views, there's a mismatch right there. This is slightly over attributing, but it's almost a 1-to-1 from what we've seen on the back end, which means page speed is great. Then when it comes to landing page view to add to cart, I know by the way that this is slightly over attributing in itself. So again, I can't fully look into these stats, but all I can tell you is that, I kid you not, if I look at that client website, they're converting at about 5 to 10%. They're doing very, very good in terms of conversion rate. Funnel is incredibly strong. So the one thing that like is helping that client a lot is conversion on the website. Conversion rate is A1 when it comes to that. Is it because the congruency between my ads messaging and the website is strong? That could be. That usually is one of the reasons why you see a higher conversion rate. If whatever is shown on the ad is exactly what the people expect to see on the website, that helps with increasing conversion rate. On the flip side, it could simply be because they've done a lot of conversion rate optimization. They have a decent website overall. I'm not going to take that out of them, but they haven't really done CRO in like forever. So I know the just product positioning and offer is just very strong, which helps with conversion rate. But now to kind of recap the points in this video. Now, of course, this is assuming that your ads are unprofitable, because if they were, I wouldn't look at anything else that I've shared in this video. But assuming that they're out of KPI and you wanted to improve them, I would look, is my CPM healthy on the account? Yes or no? If it is, then great. I move on to number 2. If it's not, what I would try is different campaigns. So duplicating a campaign, launching the ads again. I'd probably try turning everything off on the account and rebuilding the account essentially from scratch, like on the same ad account. Again, I might try a new pixel to see if that might solve it. I might try a whole new ad account and a whole new pixel, but at some point I might have to change the entire business manager, and I've even gone as far as changing the domain of a website. Sometimes CPM is like just you're stuck with the CPM essentially until you basically change the entire business. So that is unfortunate, rare that you have to get to this point, but it happens. I've seen it happen a handful of times through time, but usually duplicating a campaign, changing campaign objective, perhaps just rebuilding the account in itself, right? So turning off everything and starting again helps the CPM. Second thing would be my click-through rate. So click-through rate all above 1% is what you want to aim for outbound CTR, which our US campaign is having right now, not our Australian one. And that is purely at the creative level. That means your creative needs to be improved. Could be the concept, could be the copy, could be many different things, but work on your creative. And then you want to work on an 80% carryover from link clicks to landing page view. I'm going to switch back to the old client from earlier because I think their stats were a little prettier and easier to explain than this crazy attribution we have from the website tracking here. So now showing you back this account from earlier, right? They have 3,100 clicks. They have about 2,800 landing page views, which makes a 90% carryover. Very healthy. We want to aim for at least 80% or more carryover from the link click on the ad to a landing page view. If that's lower, fix your landing page speed, your loading speed or whatnot. Something's wrong with the page speed of your website. Now you want to aim for a 10% add to cart ratio, which that if you're not there, you got to optimize your product page. You have to make sure that the button is as visible as possible. Move all the information you can above the fold on your product page in itself. So that is usually landing page optimization is going to help you increase your add to cart ratio. Then you want to make sure that about 50 to 70% of the people that add to cart check out, and that about 50 to 70% of the people that check out purchase. Now, if you have a problem between adding to cart and checkout, this is where you now are talking to a most aware audience. So you either run ads or send pre-purchase email flows to this audience with like a first customer discount or whatever it is. They need a little push to convert. You can also lower your free shipping threshold. You can gamify your cart to make it more enticing again to kind of keep on checking out. So that's it. Or adding some urgency, limited time offers, like anything that is like urgent to make that action is what you would want to have like a higher essentially like checkouts ratio. And then that's usually also solved to an extent your checkout to purchase ratio for the most part. Some easy fixes is right. Turn on one page checkout from Shopify. Just makes the checkout simpler, removes a little bit of friction, right? You want to remove as much friction as possible on that checkout process to make sure that people end up purchasing. And those are all the areas I would look at if my funnel or my ad isn't performing in that order that I shared today, and where or what action I would take or recommend my client take if ever those are out of whack.
And now you follow me through this entire video and you're like, Justin, okay, great. I've done all of that, but like, what can I aspire that to look like? What is the real transformation that can follow from my business if I've put all of these steps together? Well, I want to show you exactly how this could look like for you. In fact, I've put everything I've taught you today into practice myself over the last 13 months and grew one of my e-commerce brands from 70K a month to 210K a month purely by focusing on meta ads. Again, following the exact concepts shared with you today. What were the numbers at the end of the day? Well, I'm about to share that with you right now.
So I am now on the client's Shopify right here. And I mean, I'm happy to refresh right here and show you that this is indeed real. This is the last 30 days on one of their 2 stores. Essentially, you can see, by the way, there's no like draft orders or any of that sort. This is literally all online right here. So this is one of their 2 stores. So right now, $158,000 on this store. And the second one right here, if I go back and refresh that one too, last 30 days did about $48,900 generated right there. All again here, online store and such is where those sales are coming from. So that said, this client has 2 Shopify stores because they're selling across 2 markets. They're selling in the US and in Australia, which again, it kind of creates the split Shopify from a fulfillment perspective. And let me show you, this was them about a year ago, right? We started working with them at the start of August of 2023. So if I go right here, actually, I show you the month right before starting to work together, and I do the same thing here on the other store. You're going to see that we have right here $32,000 on this store and $38,000 on this other store, putting us at about $70,000 generated in a 30-day window. Now, obviously, this wasn't all smooth sailing. There's been bumps on the road. There's been, trials and triumphs over the last 12 months, which I really want to unveil all of this with you today. But before I do so, here are a couple words that the client had to say about his experience working with us.
I think you guys are doing a great job. Awesome comeback, by the way. I think that definitely great work there. I mean, after May, I was pretty stressed. So I think July and August have been really good. So glad we could fix things, and not only fix things, but I think we've done like a great job. I think August was exceptional, right? So hope it keeps going strong.
So now that you watch this testimonial, I quickly want to show you this Slack exchange that we've had with the client. This was our media bar just announcing to the client that only on the AU market, we've cracked 7K a day out there. So we send them like the reporting about 10-minute video sent to them every Monday, and also every Thursday we send them a text update. Client was like, it's great news, Tula. Definitely going to strain operational capital, but I'll figure it out because again, we're scaling so fast. Orders have to come out on the back end. So he had to order more stock. Love the enthusiasm in your updates at the start of the week. Just made my day, especially when the
the performance is banging. And now if we're putting aside those kind of words and going back to the case study at hand, if we show the total revenue generated since working with this client, which is basically as of August 2023 up until now, we have on one store 1.1 million, on the other store about $688,000. So give or take, I'm going to round it up to 700 grand, which puts us at about 1.8 million. And right now, if we keep going at the pace that we are, we're on track to do about 2.5 million again as a run rate. So with that being said, you can see that there's obviously been ups and downs in working together. You can see that by the revenue curve that, we started working up together in a straight line and then kind of went in a decline for a couple of months and then really picked things back up as of May this year. Whereas that store, kind of the same thing, ups and downs and then a down. So I'll explain why that is. So first and foremost, now let me switch over to the ad account. So I am now on their ad account. They've got two ad accounts, which I'm about to share with you here. Let me refresh also this one. For anybody who may or may not be skeptical right here, this is the maximum amount of time on this ad account, which is from middle of July last year all the way to September. There's about $226,000 in ad spend right here that we have on this account. Yeah, I'm going to scroll down because there's a few accounts that do not have the PA, or a few campaigns, I should say, that do not have the PA tags. Everything that has been PA up has been launched by our team. So I'm just going to go ahead and select these campaigns so that we can actually see the ROAS. So if I go filter by row selections, you're going to see now $215,000. So give or take, there's about only 10 grand on the account that wasn't attributed to us. So 215 grand in ad spend here on Facebook for 2.77 platform reported ROAS right here. Now, if I show you the second ad account, which has always been us in itself, I can actually just change my columns right here and bring up ROAS for you to see. So let me bring up the ROAS right here. 3.21 on this other account, only $24,000 in ad spend. Obviously maximum says 2021, but I could show you. I mean, I'm just going to go last 14 days right here, and I'm going to go all the way back since last year. So August to now, and you're going to see this is all of the ad spend on this account in itself. So 24,000, 3.21 ROAS on this second Facebook account, which is managed by our team. Now, if I show you Triplewell, because we're also managing their TikTok account, now you're going to say, Justin, why haven't you showed me Triplewell for Facebook? Well, that's because, again, they have two separate shops. And on our Facebook ad account, just like on the Google ad account, which I'm also going to show you in a second, we're actually running ads on those same accounts for two different markets with an auto redirect on the website, which doesn't track accurately on Triplewell. Whereas TikTok, we're only running ads to their US store with it. And that way, with Triplewell, we can see 100% accurate attribution with it. So if I look into Triplewell for TikTok in itself, since starting to work together on TikTok, so we only started TikTok ads as of the month, I think it was like the 19th or so of October 2023, all the way up until today, $38,000 in ad spend for about $136,000 in purchase conversion value, so 3.53 average ROAS on TikTok. Now, last but not least, let's switch over to Google Ads, which I'm not going to claim the entirety of our partnership on Google Ads because it's not the case. We only ran Google Ads for a certain period of time that we started working with this client. More so from about October to May is when we took care of their Google Ad account. In that time period, we spent about $83,000 on ads. We got a 3.19 ROAS on there. And if I show you the revenue, that puts us at about $266,000 in purchase conversion value generated from Google, or at least attributed back to it. So now that we've covered the actual results that we got, I want to break down the strategy that led to that. Because if I now show you this frame folder, which has tons and tons of concepts, I could scroll down and scroll down and scroll down and scroll down right here. We produced hundreds of ad concepts for this client. In total, in the last year, we produced 183 unique concepts, each with 3 variations, and that doesn't count some of the iterations that we've made. So all in all, in terms of new concepts with counting the variations, we made about 549 creatives in the last 12 months. Again, 183 concepts. If we only count the new concepts in itself, that puts us at about 15 concepts or so a month. So give or take 4 a week or so, 3 to 4 a week in terms of an average. And I think a lot of agencies just shoot blanks. They go for a creative volume approach without trying to really understand what they are creating behind those ad creatives. Like, what's the true messaging behind those given ad creatives? And I want to show you exactly what's our campaign structure and also what's our creative structure in this video, because I really feel like this is what did the trick for this account. This is really what helped them scale to this level. So now, although we have a couple of campaigns live, if I go, let's say last 30 days right here to make this a little easier to follow, and I'm going to go campaigns that had delivery right here, we have about, I mean, these two campaigns don't count. So let me just delete those. We have 9 campaigns that had delivery in the last 30 days. One of them was a Labor Day campaign. One of them is a campaign specific to the UK. One of them is a campaign specific to the US. And all the other ones are doing slight testing in the Australian and New Zealand market. So with that being said, we're testing a couple different structures on this account, like Advantage Plus campaigns and also our manual dynamic creative testing campaigns, which is really where I'm going to focus today. Typically, we like to keep our ad accounts as simple as possible. We have one campaign per country, market, region, product, and or landing page or destination test. So in this case, obviously as an example, in the Australian market, you're going to see a couple different campaigns. Why? Well, some of them are on a DCT structure. Others are on our Advantage Plus campaign structure. Others essentially are limited time campaigns that we're running. And then finally, we're doing a target ROAS test actually right now to see whether or not that's going to beat our typical CBO campaigns. So that kind of gives you a gist of the type of campaigns that we're running. But again, as simple as possible is one campaign per product, country, and or region. So after we're going to be done with all of these tests, we're currently doing it right now, we will be able to get this back down to about 4 campaigns, I believe, which is going to be 1 for the UK, 1 for the US, and 2 for the Australian market, since Advantage Plus campaigns and our DCT campaign are working great in the Australian market. So again, we're going to go back down to 4 campaigns very soon. Now, I think an Advantage Plus campaign is quite self-explanatory, so I'm not really going to go into that. I'm going to show you what a DCT campaign does look like. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go right here. I'm going to go by amount spent. I'm going to filter them by which one spent the most and pick this one. So right here's an example. This one spent about $7,000 in the last 30 days or so. So let me open this one up. So if I scroll down to the campaign level in itself, you can see we're using a CBO budget. Right now, we dropped the budget a little bit over the last few days. So $150 a day as of right now on this campaign, but nothing too crazy. Just a typical CBO campaign where the magic happens is actually at the ad set level. So if I click on the ad set right here, we're using website as the conversion location. We're optimizing for purchases always. Now, this client still has dynamic creative testing. You can see it right here. Facebook has been telling us for a couple of weeks, dynamic creative testing is soon going to be going away. I'll show you how we're adapting to dynamic creative testing going away. But nonetheless, right now, I have to show you how a DCT works because that is the structure that we've been using on this account. Nonetheless, everything I'm showing you today, even though DCTs are going away, is still applicable with our new campaign structure, which again, I'll bring up in a little bit with you. If I scroll down right here in terms of audience controls, you can see it's incredibly simple. We have not even set an age. We have not even set a specific gender. It's all languages. It's all Australia. It's all New Zealand. We always go as broad as we possibly can be. It doesn't mean we're always going to go with no age or gender restrictions. Sometimes for specific clients that have very specific restrictions or a product, we might select a specific age range or a specific gender in itself. But typically, we're seeing that these products or Facebook is automatically going to attribute spend to the right demographic. I'll show you that in a second. So right now, we're going Australia, New Zealand, broad. And if I keep scrolling down, you're going to see 18 to 65, or sorry, mistake right here. Woman is what we've limited in terms of the gender right there. So again, I do want to rectify what I was about to say right here. Woman is what we've put in for that client. But again, you'd be surprised on some accounts. Sometimes we don't even put gender, and Facebook allocates spend to the right gender by default. So the way that we have our ad set is typically, or the way we have those campaigns, I should say, is we have campaign, we use a CBO. So the budget is automatically distributed across the right ads. And then we have one concept per ad set. So you can see in our naming convention, we have client name, DCT 163. So this is the 163rd creative that we've produced for that client. Now, if I go to the ad level, you're going to see the ad level is literally named the exact same thing. Why? Because that concept, there's only one ad under this ad set in itself. So if I scroll down, the way it looks like is like this. This in this case is a video. We have 3 assets. As you can see, they're all 34 seconds. The only difference is the hook. They have a slightly different hook on all 3 of these videos. Now we have 2 pieces of copy, one new one, one best performing one. We have 2 headlines, one new one, one best performing one. And then we direct people to a given website. And that puts all the pressure in our ad account at the creative level. We don't bother worrying about ad set testing or about worrying about the right audiences, or am I targeting like the right interest or the right lookalikes, or is my campaign structure properly done? Forget about any of that. This is very futile. We live in a day and age where media buying is, I wouldn't call it dead, but about to be. Like seriously, what you should be focusing on 99% of your effort really is on the creative side. Creative is the new targeting, right? So with that being said, the way that we build our campaign
is we let Facebook allocate the budget across our different creatives. We do testing and scaling within the same campaign. And if a concept works, all we do is we let the ad set live. If a concept doesn't work, and I'll try and find you one that doesn't work right here. If I kind of scroll through a few right here and click on them, there you go. We just turn off the ad set. So we don't kill at the ad level. We only kill at the ad set level. Creative doesn't work. Great. We're going to kill the ad set. Creative works. We're going to let the ad set live. And we're going to look at the total campaign budget, or the total campaign performance, I should say. So we're going to go back here, look at the campaign, look at it on the last 3 days, last 7 days, and last 14 days, and then make budget decisions from there. Should we scale, lower the budget, or maintain based on a 3, 7, and 14-day perspective? So now that we've gone through the actual campaign and ad account structure, if we look into soft metrics like click-through rates, well, we're above average, or at least the averages that we try and aim for at the agency. So for us, when it comes to creative stats, so click-through rate more specifically, we like to have a click-through rate all anywhere between 2 to 3% or more, and an outbound click-through rate, so meaning people that click to go to the website in itself, to be at 1% or more. So right here, we're at 2.4% for click-through rate all, so above our 2% average, and then 1.1% outbound click-through rate, so above our 1% target in itself. And now if I look through Atria, which we often use for creative analysis, there's a link to them in the description down below, by the way. For this ad account, by the way, as you can see, we're using a lot more videos. Like, you look at the ad spend that we have on videos versus photos. It's about 85%. I mean, it's more than an 80-20 split, definitely. It's like a 90-10 split, more so around videos to photos. And that depends. If you tell me, Justin, does that mean that after watching that, I should switch my entire account only to videos? Not necessarily. Like, if I look into all of our clients at the agency, we have a 50-50 split in terms of accounts that have more statics versus more videos. And it depends. Some accounts, for some reason, videos just perform a lot better. So therefore, we go more with this creative style. So this is one of our strongest hook-based account. Why? They are selling sexual healthcare products for women. So if I look into it, our thumb stop ratio, our hook rate, is through the roof for this account's creatives. Like, look at this, 40%, 40%, 39%, 38%, 38%, 37%. If you're advertising, you know that these numbers are very high. Like, a typical good hook rate is about 25%. Like, if you can hook 1 out of 4 people who sees your ad, that's great. What this percentage means is that roughly 1 out of 2 or 2 out of 5 people that see your ad stop and watch the hook, which is a significant portion of people. Those are all people that we can then retarget later on because they viewed part of our video ads. So again, I just wanted to highlight that right here and say that I believe because of the nature of the product, we've been able to do very provocative hooks in a video like this one, which hooks people in once again. So now the question is, well, Justin, okay, you've shown the ad account structure. Now you've showed you have strong hooks. Your soft metrics look great. Now, what is your creative process? Good question. So I'm going to scroll through a little bit this sheet right here, which is where we keep track of all the creatives made for a client. This is all the ones made for the Australian market, and I have a separate sheet for all the ones we've made for the US market. Every creative that we make, and this is an older version of our newly adapted sheet. I'll show you the new version in a second. We keep track of all the fundamental pillars behind an ad. We use a method at paidadvertising.com that we call fundamental analysis. This is our proprietary system that we coined the agency about 1.5 years ago, which the way it looks like is this. When we make an ad concept, those are all the variables that we keep track of on our side. We give the concept a name or a batch number, like what you've seen on the ads manager, like DCT 163 as an example. Now on our side, we're able to label, okay, that concept, what is the product that we are advertising with this concept? Perfect. Now, what is the actual market desire right here? So market desire is usually an I want to statement. Forget about what is here. Those are all placeholders as of right now. They're I want to statement. So I want to feel more confident in my own skin. I want to impress the neighbors or whatever it is. Like, what is the true desire? In other words, the what are we talking about in the ad? So what is right here? What is the ad about? Now the who, the persona this ad is made for. What age are they? Where do they live? What do they do on a day-to-day basis? What solutions have they tried and failed at before? All of this is identified. We have a sheet, if you can see at the bottom, that says persona right here. So that sheet, persona, is where we fill in all the information about this said persona. Gender, age group, company's mission, so on and so forth. Like, if we go into that persona, belief about themselves, what is the process we want to achieve in society, and a bunch more. So we're going to give this persona a name, and then in our tracking sheet, we're actually just going to put in the name of that said persona. So that way we have that right here. Then we have the product benefit, then the awareness level. So how aware is that prospect
of the product that you're trying to sell them. So in other words, how are you speaking to them? So again, we have the what you're speaking to them about, who you're speaking to, and how you are speaking to them, and many more variables right here that we keep track of. That way, if one of our concept becomes a winner, it becomes incredibly easy for us to iterate and create more winners. So as soon as we find one winning concept, we'll go and follow the 80-20 rule. 80% of our new creative efforts will be spent on iteration, so making more variations of our winners, and 20% on making completely new, far right, brand new concept ideas. So if I show you this client's sheet right here as an example, what we track is a metric called hit rate. So that means how many ads or how many concepts we've launched on their account versus how many of them became winners. Right here, we have a 32% hit rate. This is one of our highest account hit rate at the agency, which means, in other words, 1 out of 3 ads that we launch on this account sustains a high amount of ad spend for a long period of time above KPI, which is very, very good. What does that tell us? It tells us, well, if we want to scale, we roughly know how many new creatives we're going to need to produce on our side in order to sustain this increase in ad spend. What we try and do is we try and have our accounts at about 20% or so as an average. This account is definitely above average at about 32% hit rate, which means our creatives just stick faster. Again, going back to the point at the start of the video, although we've been making 15 to 16 new concepts a month for this client, not counting all the variations that we're making, this in itself is like, this is calculated. We're making this amount of concepts because we know that 1 out of 3 is going to hit, and therefore we know that following this logic, about 4 to 5 new concepts that we launch on a given month are going to become new winners. And this is one of our very few accounts where if we go into their ads library, they have like 94 live ads right now on their account. And you'd be surprised, like sometimes I see some accounts of competitors that have like hundreds of ads running, and I just know for a fact they're wasting budget because they're spreading themselves too thin with the budget they have. This account, it's like a very significant portion of these 94 ads, they're still getting ad spend attributed to them, and they're actively converting above KPI, which is very, very rare that we're able to get this many winning ads on an account. And that creates what I call an anti-fragile base. We can scale feeling a hell of a lot more confident. We know that on a given month, we're not just putting all of our eggs within the same basket and spending only on winners. No, we're still doing about 20% creative testing at any given point with completely far right new concepts and new ideas, new content creators, new scripts that we haven't tested at all before. So we know that we're finding new winners all the time. And therefore, I don't care if an old winner starts falling down now. I'm not worried about it because my creative process is, number one, dialed in. I know all the metrics behind my creatives. So I can look back through past winners and easily arrange those same pillars and fundamentals together to make new winning creatives in the future. And like, if I show you, this is our internal creative pipeline, like I can show you this client has 9 plus 5 plus 9 right here. We literally have 18 plus 5. We have 23 active concepts being worked on and edited by our editing team. We try days, if not weeks in advance at time to prepare some of these campaigns. Some of those are working with content creators. So like anything that is tagged UGC, we're actively working with content creators. Therefore, there's always a little bit of delay. So we're usually weeks in advance in terms of our pipeline right here. But it just goes to show you a big proponent of this client success is just not only the amount of creatives that we've done, but the quality of these creatives, the fundamentals behind these creatives. Therefore, why I call it fundamental analysis when building an ad. Because look, this is done right now from scratch, meaning we built all those creatives from scratch using all these pillars shown to you. And then now we're at like 180 plus creatives made for this client in the last year or so, 180 plus concepts, I should say, right? Which is different than just unique creatives made. And someone like you who might be listening to that and saying, well, Justin, I don't have as much ads that I've made so far. So like, how do I know if they're winners or whatever? Like, I've never done this process so far. You can reverse engineer it. Either go through your own current ad creatives and try and extract all of those pillars I shared with you today into a Google sheet like this, and therefore understand why your current winners are winning. And if you're like, well, Justin, I'm not even running ads right now and I'm about to start running ads, what do I do? Well, go through ad libraries of competitors, filter their ads by the longest running ads, which chances are, if they're still active, it must mean that they're being profitable, or at least they're getting them some decent results. And do the same, reverse engineer their ads and take note of them in a Google sheet. And now you'll be left with all the pillars as to why an ad is winning, which what you've done just now is fundamental analysis. And so in a given month for this client, we're spending anywhere between $40,000 to $60,000 on ads. Whereas we've got clients on the low end with which we spend about $10,000 a month on ads at the agency. And on the high end, we've got brands like these, which we've worked last year, where we're spending about $200,000 a month on ads, getting them almost $1 million million back, $781,000 from Facebook ads, not counting the Google and TikTok that we've also consulted this brand with, which gives you kind of a range for what type of brands the strategy works for. In other words, it works if you're making 10 grand a month or spending 10 grand a month on ads, it'll work for you. If you want to make $1 million a month back in revenue, that also works for you. So it can accompany you, would you be at 6-figure, 7-figure, or 8-figure as a brand. And I do want to highlight this last point. We've talked a lot with that client about the importance of offer, of conversion rate, did some consulting with it, even built a landing page for them over the summer. Now, looking into the conversion rate of their store, one thing that you should take note when you want to scale or before you start pumping ad spend, and this is one of the reasons that, over the summer, we really tried and found ourselves through the offer, creative, landing page and such. Like we did a bunch of tests over that summer period, which is really what led us to start slowly going down. I'll explain also some of the other pitfalls that we faced. Shopify Health Score is something incredibly important that you need to optimize for with your business. How do you calculate that? Average order value times conversion rate. So in other words, $82 times, going back right here, 4.64, which goes 380. I am telling you this, all of our best case studies at paidadvertising.com are with clients who had a Shopify Health Score of 150 or more. So do the math right now if you're watching this video. If you are below 150, you need CRO work, you need to rework your offer, you need to change either your product market fit, change your add to cart process, build a landing page, whatever it is, you need some CRO or landing page or website work that is either website related or offer related or both, perhaps. And that is one of the most common points amongst our successful clients is they have 150 or more, or we've helped them work their way up to 150 or more Shopify Health Score. And you'll find that very interesting because look at this. Australian market, US market. Australian market, US market. It is not the same. 57 here, 2% there. Same website, same theme, same products, 2 markets, completely different stats, which is why. Look at the revenue here, look at the revenue there. What we've decided with the client is at the start of the year, we're like, is there any reason why historically you guys have spent more money in the US than in Australia? He was like, well, I just always was under the impression that the US was more scalable. I'm like, well, naturally it probably is. There's more people, it's a bigger market. But I'm like, if I look into your Shopify, you have a much healthier store in Australia. Would you be opposed to us testing for a little bit to spend more in the Australian market, reduce the budget in the US, so that way like we're not gonna put you out of pocket if this test doesn't work? So we spend more in Australia and we reduced a little bit of the ad spend in the US. He was like, yeah, sure, go for it. And it led to this. It led exactly to what you're seeing on screen right now. Like we've significantly dropped ad spend and therefore revenue in the US, but significantly increased ad spend and therefore revenue in the Australian market. And because of the back end of that store, we are in a much more profitable state. This client is currently operating at about a 4x blended ROAS, meaning total revenue divided by total ad spend is give or take about 4x, which for them at that scale is very profitable. So I do know that is the importance of market testing too, which sometimes the same idea and concept you have implemented in a completely different country or market might work better. Not because you've changed the site, not because you've changed anything but the market.
All right, so you've made it this far in the video. Well, first of all, thank you. Honestly, I think thank yourself. You've made a huge step forward into bettering your e-commerce brand. Now, if you want to take the next step in your betterment journey, then I invite you to check the first link in the description down below and book in a call with myself at paidadvertising.com so that we can help you take your e-commerce brand to the next level with your paid ads on Meta, Google, and or TikTok. And hey, if you're not yet ready to work with an agency, but you want some one-on-one consulting and help with myself personally, check the second link in the description down below to join our one-on-one consulting ad engine program. On that note, check out other videos on the channel for some more useful e-commerce marketing tips, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.